comparison between the first time that they faced each other and this one is that the first one would be defined by expectations and this one will be completely defined by adaptation. I like that you mentioned, and we were surprised by not seeing Bind as that second pick, but I also think that it has to do a lot with what happens against Alliance and them not having and finding a solution to what happened to that map. So they decided to go for the Ascent. I'm actually happy with that.
Well, the first map is Breeze and Agent Select is ready. So let's jump into that. And now we saw the KO come out at Lothar yesterday for Vitality, but it wasn't great.
Well, I feel like the KO has the biggest strength of affecting the game already at the beginning of the round, even if he doesn't do anything. Because the thing is, KO delivers so much when it comes to counterplay. Now, when you look at the big lineup, there's Skye, there's Sova, and there's Cypher and Viper. All of those agents are hugely affected by just the dagger from KO and the ultimate. You can use the dagger to counterplay the drone, the tiger. You can just instantly just delete that, right? Which then affects the team to play in different positions. You have to go a little bit deeper with that Sova and Skye to not get affected, to not counter that drone with the dagger. So it changed the position just basically on the fundamental level, right? Which is already like a lot of impact from KO.
And it's also the chances and the possibilities that KO opens for you as a player, not only playing for the information and enabling your team, you can also play for yourself. And Yinsu and I were mentioning it, Obnox, it's a great player, so maybe it would have been the right pick for him. But just as Lothar said, they'd rather go, more classic about their composition. Still, I think it's going to be a very close one.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to make any changes here. Yeah, but how important is this first map, Kakuka? If Big are able to steal this the way Guild did yesterday, do you see them maybe taking this series a bit earlier?
Yeah, totally. I think it could be devastating. Vitality needs that strong start that they didn't have yesterday. And by what I was mentioning earlier about Big adapting to Alliance, if we have the same adapting to Vitality, maybe we're wrong and this is going to be fast, but I don't think so.
Well, I feel like Breeze is a map that goes either way, and specifically also because those teams have very similar playstyle on those maps. We're gonna see the Vipers play on A side on defense, unless they change something up again. The Cypher controlling B side, and a lot of power being put into the mid control by both teams. And now that's something that I would like to focus on. When you're gonna watch the match, put your eyes to mid control, put yourself in the shoes of the players, and try to understand how can I carve the team's space with my own movement on mid to try to affect the outcome of the round.
Well, thank you very much, Yusu. This is a big game. We've got Big in the service, and we got to bring in the big casters as well. Here's Pansy and Hypok.
That's some flattery right there.
It's good to be back, right?
A warm welcome. Didn't expect that one. No, it is an absolute joy to be back. It's been a minute, right, Hypok? I mean, we've been deep in the forests preparing for our return, practicing. No, I mean, it feels good to come back to this. And a good game, it feels like, to come in with. Your initial thoughts?
It's interesting to see. I mean, we're actually blessed here to kind of see just how deep the improvement is, right? We've seen them in a best of 3. We've obviously seen the match up again. Now we see it in a best of 5. We potentially can get a little deeper dive on how deep these improvements really lie with these teams. So it is interesting. Breeze is also quite an interesting map to start with because it was floppy last time. It was 9-3 both ways. Obviously, the overtime, the only thing to separate them. So I'm excited to see if there's any massive change-ups, at least here in map 1.
Well, I think Kakuka put it beautifully. This game will be defined by adaptation.
Absolutely,
and I think it's actually a very succinct way to kind of define these two teams, I guess you could put it. Yes, Big are kind of known for that anti-strat capability. They're very cognizant of it. When you have someone like Gob, it's hard to ignore what he brings to a roster. A bit of a kingmaker at times. He can certainly work with these younger players. But on the flip side, Vitality, it's hard to look past their shoot up in capability as of late. So again, I think for me, this is almost to sit back and watch. I wish I was almost in chat to sit here and kind of get a grasp of how this game goes down, because it looks like we're about to get underway.
I'm with you there. We will be here to carry you through. And I mean, I know Tom and Mitch are going to be as Big starting on the attacking side. They it was interesting to see the lack of variation, and when they did deter away from A, just I guess how much they struggled. So that's something I'm definitely going to have my eye on. At least here at the start, as a little poke comes out towards elbow here, and Shadow there to greet it on the other side. Trade off for utility initially, but no damage exchanged.
No. fun and games. And again, for Big, I just want to see how these new players kind of gel together, what they look like as a collective, and the site's going to be theirs. It's just going to be that wrap around the back that's going to be the big
Sender finds
point to keep your eye on. Exactly, and Sender's already cracked it open, so Big are starting to feel that squeeze very early at this point, but a quick trade out will at least eventually facilitate that spike plan, but it looks like Vitality want to deny that by getting a little aggressive.
Yeah, actually, I'm not. Going to find 2 headshots. Scatter and Vac will fall. Actually, Obnox will find a 3rd as well for good measure. Just 1 left to find. Sender will fall, and initially a good response there from Vitality. Like you had to get ahead of the curve, right? To prevent them, I guess, getting full control. I think that's on the back of Casper finding that kill in the lurk. Honestly, that's the catalyst, the green light for them to push on through. But Big hold strong there.
But I also want to highlight the kind of freeze that Big did, kind of hitting the brakes for a second as well, because they'd kind of taken over that elbow control. Exactly. I was getting a bit worried they hadn't got that spike down, but you saw that kind of patience coming in, seeming to just hit the brakes, see if they could punish and over-aggress and over-push, and they managed to pick up a fair few. So, nice start for Big, going to come out board. And again, name of the game should be coming right. Nice and simple. We don't need to overcook anything here. Feel out the stack if they can for Big. And you can see there's 3 players raring to go over towards that A site. So, let's see what they can get out of this. Already Aslan doing well from Brams. And Aslan again, finding a couple more.
Essentially, I mean, it's 2 out of 3 here on A site. It's still a bit slow in approach. I guess 1 more player to deal with here, but Sender does make his way over. Spike should be fairly comfortably planted. How deep they push it. Like you said, aim of the game, keep it clean. Twistin will find another one. Sender. His days are numbered right now. Is chased down. Just 1 left to find for Big now.
I think, again, this is when we talk about, and you know what? You love getting a Godby interview, right? This guy will give you the lines you want to talk about, and it's the fundamentals. This sort of round where we talk about 5 alive, keeping everything clean, feeling out the stack, playing, you know, that cerebral game, and it seems almost silly to have to say it, right? Because of course you want to keep it clean, but they play to that tune, right? And when you've got someone in the server like Godby, you pay attention to it, right? And there's something about, you know, these young guns coming in, you've got to be able to respect that IGL. We see it a lot in, I hate saying North America like it's a bad thing, right? But when people have like coaches coming in, it's like, well, how can I impact these players? How can I make them listen to me and respect my opinion in this? And again, it's a bit of a constant issue, but when you have someone like Godby who's a pillar, right? He comes with authority to it. That's where it can change. But speaking of change, Vitality now have a fair amount of fundage, right? They've got rifles galore, a little bit of light armor, but this should be the turn, right? If there's anything up the sleeve for the bonus, I'll be impressed. And it's not a completely worthless purchase. Casper looking a little bit well equipped.
B as well.
Yeah, so rifles are out. This isn't without a little bit of bite to it.
The Seeker's available as well for Big. See that invested early on here, but if they've already got a decent amount of information, or at least positionally, Sender up. The wall goes up, but nobody from Big. Yeah, I think they're just waiting for an open here. Aslan actually going to be enabled here with the Vandal in hand. Actually, Sender, great swing on the back of that contact.
That's a nasty swing, but okay, the Spectre on the trade. Any damage here is going to make a little bit of the money be drawn away from Vitality, but again, we still have the 2 rifles in hand. They've not been left, they've not been able to be policed away. They'll be looking to try and maybe facilitate a trade or something, but you can see Vitality really digging their heels in. They don't want to give any more of these away. Very, very smart. And considering they've got the spike in such a precarious spot, they can just keep that locked down.
30 seconds left.
I think this gets problematic, and there's a wrap on the way as well.
Kada actually, out of audio range, he was able to jump over that trap, so I don't think Big will be aware of just how deep he is. Obnox again going to explore. We'll find back. Straight down by Shadow, who finds a second. And Casper, that's one to deal with now. He was a little bit disconnected here on this lurk. Didn't find value early on this time around. 5 seconds left. Well, you can find another kill. But already ticking the box. 3 kills. Big hit. Yes, they will concede the round, but damage done. Removing a couple of the weapons. They're in Shadow though, again undamaged, so they will be able to hold on to their shields. Again, forcing those repurchases and holding on to 1 rifle, it's not a massive loss for Big.
No, And let's talk about the warm-up here of Obnox. This guy is already coming in hot as well. If you're starting to feel out the game early, and look, if Kukuka and Yinzu are on the money, saying he's a pretty underrated player, maybe someone to look out for, if we're going to see that little Sky pop off, I'm all aboard. But on the other side, I do think it's good that Vitality were at least able to convert the round, because it did get a little dicey at moments. It got a little sketchy. So, again, for them, they get to come back in. Back the only one really having to suffer the repercussions of the prior.
Casper, actually, I don't know if it was noted there, but that's a little jump peak to at least to spot out the push through tube here, and a little bit of a further lean away from B site itself here. The wall will go up. 2 traps to deal with, almost anti-jet traps here.
Oh, but I like this almost like retake posture instantly from Vitality. Actually, a little bit of a slow creep back in from Sender. But again, they were sat so deep initially towards kind of like connector, I guess, window. Maybe this is where I want to look into it, and I wish I'd been able to kind of pay more mind to it. I'm just simply not built that way. Yeah, multi games of how they like to feel this out, and it looks like, yeah, that's a great read from Kata. Already going to try and control, fall away, and managed.
Great read from Kata, but Casper did note that at the start of the round, so it's a risk coming up on the rope once again. It's actually going to pull the rotation for Vitality here. You can see already Sender has pushed through, confirmed a lack of presence outside B. Twiston will actually find an opener here, so still achievable for Big.
It is, but Brams is just going to be on buying time duty, and that's not how you do it. Twiston's going to remove him, and now suddenly the site looks accessible. Spike, going to be a little troublesome to go down, but Obnox, that is beautiful work from him. Shadow tries to slip through, but there's Obnox. We said it. This guy pops off. He starts filling out that game early. Maybe he's the player they need. And the 3's down from Big, and in some fashion, I thought Vitality had that round. Quite genuinely, the kind of retake of space towards that B site, the play up tube, all the early indicators looked favourable, right?
Exactly. You look at the minimap around 10 seconds ahead of that plant, or at least that hit coming through. And Vitality, like I said, they've got all the information necessary. Look at where everybody's positioned here, and I don't know if the solution here is for Vitality to sit a little deeper, just wait it out a little longer, but Sender had pushed out into elbow on B there, so the information was all in Vitality's favour. And with Casper falling effectively at the top of tube, they almost have the upper hand ahead of that A hit. Really, really impressive stuff from Big.
Oh, now this is the bit of a knock-on, right? Look at the state of the money already from Vitality. Sheriff's out. A couple of... who's got the armor on this one? Brams and back. Okay, so there's a little bit more to them, but it's not much. As Big, I want to see this consideration, because mid's already been taken. Vitality have pushed down. They've got the information. They're going to go for the stack out on this. So Big needs to be very aware that there's going to be maybe 2, 3, make it now 5 players behind this wall. Twiston, let's see how sharp you are today. That's going to be 1. The follow-up, not good enough. Shadow, a punish. Big now fully aware, and got B doing his aim training mid-game. So comfy stuff from Big in the end, but a little scary, but kept in check.
Interesting. One of the things I was looking forward to with starting off with Breeze was just how much of a, I guess, conditioning factor there was from Big in the previous matchup with how much the focus and the, I guess they prioritized on their attack. But here it's seeming, I mean, there's not an awful lot of difference here. Vitality getting much better early reads in terms of the round. That previous round, obviously, the economy, the equipment could be a factor, but Vitality looking a little... I guess more eager to confirm that, right? Is to really go out and seek that information. I guess on the flip side of that is how much Big now show us some variation. Again, whether that's addressing mid, addressing tube, or really just showing presence towards B. Twiston actually going to try and get some tube control. Kata actually not in this round in particular, but Viper Wall invested already. A good indicator for Vitality to at least hold 3 members here.
You've had players in the right place in the past. They've struggled to actually deny the hit, and it looks like it's starting already. Back to the code, just about walk through. Seen nothing early, but now here comes the hit. There goes the on backspin, somewhat unchecked. Oh, he's made a bit of a meal of it. Still gets away with 2. How's he done that? But in the meantime, Big Dig, it did get 2 of their own. So, it's a 3v3. Where's that spike for now? Yet to be planted. There's still Shadow lingering around. Bram's still by the box. This is still issues for Big. Not be falling back from this. I think they're going to have to cut their losses for now. See if they can maybe reset the pace, but only 35 seconds, Hypok.
Bram's down to 30 HP as well, so very squishy. I was playing for info here at the entry point. They're blocking each other. They actually passed each other.
Oh, this is horrific. Brams just gets a little lost in the sauce, and now it's a 2v2. 20 seconds now. It is all on Twiston. 1v2. Whoa, he's got one! Does he predict the second? He's got 13 seconds to play with. He has the spike. How does he want to do this? He wants that fight! He gets it, but it goes all astray as Shadow, the man on the back lines, kept calm. Was falling to pieces, if I'm honest.
And Tristan really been a highlight of their performances recently. I mean, noting his play around Vac on that Viper with just predicting that flash perfectly. Again, real chance to watch out that round as well. But Vitality will find their second.
This goes here.
Again, not too much damage, I guess, in terms of someone else with Vitality. Again, everything except for the Blade Storm here
I've got your
on the cards. But send it down on the Spectre. Rams down on the Judge. That's probably a byproduct of the ultimate being invested. But Big on the back of the Seeker's going to try and find something up through Dumbledoors.
Massive pace change from Obnox up towards middle. Casper as well, threading the needle through towards side. He's going to have the Scott-free kill on one and maybe a follow-up. It looks like Vac's all too aware, but gets caught with his pants down. Tender now put to task because it's a 3v2, and once again we're consistently seeing Big finding these approaches that really do seem to catch him off guard, as maybe the Res will try and bring him back to the feet, but Obnox again, look at this guy, it's going to be inevitable. Yeah, Twiston's right there in the back lines. Big. Now, look, should we be honest here for a second? Do you think it's time?
Speak free.
Okay, look, sometimes, back in the day, you know, we talk about the Na'Vi timing on executes, right? We get that phrase up. Now, Big are also one of those teams who love a slow round, they love a default, they're chilling for half of the round. And look, it makes sense and it can work. However, I do love seeing them just throwing a pace change like that. Straight up middle, big crunch towards the site. The flank looked like it came in instantly. It was like, I love seeing the capability of now a bit of a maybe hit the switch, let's pick up the pace. And it completely throws Vitality into the dumpster. And for now, we've seen the money being humbled. They do have a couple of ults though, but I don't know if there's going to be the opportunity to bring them in. Let's see if they can keep this clean for Big.
And they're going to try and find something with Blade Storm, but Obnox will find his sender on the way through. Obnox again! Under the 3k, Vac finally puts him down. Struggling with that classic though.
Player standing.
Just a matter of time before they find this final kill. Oh, okay, Vac made a pretty good attempt at it there. Finds a headshot, but no consolation. Don't start with that already. It's map 1. Don't.
Alright.
Potentially a long day, Zilv told us, so...
I mean, if Obnox keeps this up, if Big keep just, you know, displaying this, I don't know. Vitality, I don't think Vitality are out by any means. It is a long series. It's going to be a, you know, a potentially long day. You're right. And I'll keep it together.
Should at least try for map 1, right? Oh, okay.
Do my best.
Leave me hanging, it's fine.
Right. Right. Let's get back into things. Wait, I'm not even ready for the round to start. What's this guy doing?
Man.
Like, can we, again, some of these players, like, they have that, oh, that's a dirty little angle, isn't it, Shadow? Just slips back into them, finds Aslan, at least going to even it up. But, again, I like seeing players having, like, the hot start and then it transferring throughout the game. Like, it rolls back a little bit to, let's say, Gobby's interview, and he's like, you know, we kind of brought our C game, or maybe a B game at most. If this is maybe a difference maker, but now, speaking of aggression, look at Vitality. Look at that little switch up, taking so much space. That's huge information. This should, if anything, really resound towards the players on B, but that's even better. Bram's going to find gold B, and that's now the spike gone down, but the raid boss is on the way, so Obnox going to quickly get the spike and get out of dodge.
Spike being noted, I guess means Vitality can sit as they are now. Map control definitely swings in their favour, although Casper and Twiston looking to wrap through Spawn, actually, yeah.
Who's on the defending side and who's on the attack? Obnox is on an island. He just needs to live, which is now getting kind of scary because they pushed out. I actually quite like that from Vitality. High risk, high reward, I guess. And Big are just behind enemy lines. Now, there's a bit of a time limit. As you can see, Twiston trying to do anything he can, but I think he knows and they know this round is all but done. But aggression being thrown in late round on the defensive side, maybe a little bit of an antidote. What? Just snapping his wrist.
No way, man.
Yo, let's go. Give me another. Give me one more. One more. Yeah.
Walk it back.
Slowly.
No!
Oh.
What the hell was that first shot? I mean, I almost want to see the second as well, but that first flick was disgusting from Twiston. What?
Damn.
10 seconds left.
Okay. It's quite nice. Right. That's very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And then he's literally just 0.2 of a second off getting a third as well, which would have been would have been nice.
In the free
Close
skill
out
of
the
his
clip,
life as
right?
well. Yeah. Get it for the montage, but just hide the scoreline as the time runs out and just make it seem really impactful. For Vitality though, maybe a well-needed lifeline and in some fashion to do it as well. Late round aggression, hard to, I guess,
Tagged. My camera is destroyed.
do again and again, just because teams like Big are happy to hold a default till the very last second if they have to. But it's good to show that Vitality were able to kind of thread the needle on that, right? They were able to find a bit of a gap to play with there.
I think in a couple of these rounds where, again, they're looking to explore, they're looking to kind of counter some of this early map control that Big are able to achieve with a seemingly very deep default, like you said. They're very, very keen to almost get a feel for the setup ahead of some of these site hits, but they're punished this time around. Sender overstepping the mark slightly there, and Twiston punishes. Seeker's popped here, the drone will come through, and decent access towards A here. Caleb will actually find Aslan, though. Doesn't seem to slow things down. The Viper's bit invested as well.
Yeah, starting to see those ults really come through. Twiston took the spear. He actually wants some more. That's a little brave, but there was the follow-up. A good trade comes out for Casper.
30 seconds
The not
left.
so friendly Ghost at that point. Spike going to go down, a 3v2 advantage, sitting towards Big.
Spike planted.
As Kadavra and Vac. He's going to slip towards the site, little on-hand flash, but no one there to find much from the other side. But it looks like Vac should at least note where Obnox is, but just knowing where he is one thing, trying to take him down is another, as he actually does win that fight against Vac, leaving just Kada. Now becoming an opponent. Spacing hit. Flash actually gonna give. Oh no! Obnox is just a movable object, right? This guy just seems to be right place, right time, and he's getting everything. Scoreline's looking pretty good.
It's interesting to note initial plan there, unless Sender give. That was we saw it just at the start of that round. The smoke was invested. You guys can see it on the minimap here, just outside elbow. I don't know if that is kind of just they completely changed the plan there, or on the back of that aggression outside. That. So it's interesting to see whether mid control halfway through that before you
Camera, take
no Kada exploring.
Yeah.
Gets attacked.
I like that they're still trying to address middle a little bit. Maybe this is something they're trying to keep in mind, but Vitality, I'm surprised there hasn't. This is a best of 5, so I feel that worried about it yet.
Last time,
right?
I was going to say, yeah.
Exactly.
It still came out with the overtime win, so I guess they're not sweating just yet. And Big did look comfortable on their attack.
Here.
Again, here they get Rams. Aslan will punish. Here, Vitality, Obnox actually in a position to greet Shadow. Actually, no. Second, first of all. No problems there. Obnox. I was going to say, if he turns and finds that one, Shadow good with the headshot, though.
GG it out, boys. GG go next. Yes. But for now, Shadow clearing. Got himself a rifle. Small problem, and it looks like Gobby's there on the other side. Gobby wins it. So again. Performance. I don't want to overread into this because we know what happened last time, right?
Well,
Not on both sides,
yeah,
but again, this is very impressive, though.
This isn't a huge surprise. Again, the expectation of same performance on their attack. And actually the only difference being, you know, Big starting here on attack. Obviously last time they were mounting that comeback. So yeah, you're right. Not too surprising really if we take the Vitality right foot in the second half. They're attacking around with 4 sessions, so
And this could be. Look how Cat is back away. Does at least do some good early damage. He actually makes. As I sit there, like almost had him, but still, attention being drawn on towards these two players slowly. Brute force, the backbone, like likely. Oh dear.
just when you think they might get an 8. There, just when they might.
4v2? 4v2,
It was a
got B
4v2.
on the op. Not known for the opping capabilities. Oh dear. That's a tilter.
Yeah.
And you know that Big are grinning. You know that there's that big old smile on their faces. They know that they weren't meant to get that round. That was an absolute throw from Vitality there. Just over-peaking, overzealous, giving opportunities to these ops. Eesh.
I
Okay.
think the game plan there is to isolate that 1 kill on B after. Obviously, Aslan is noted, completely disconnected from God B, but the kill onto Brams, I want to see how that occurred because it seemed that he was just drifting out of window, maybe just caught off guard with an angle he wasn't expecting, but you can't help but feel they sit a little deeper there and wait for Big to slip up, right? It
Sure.
is
4v2.
a fumble.
It's very hard if you're the 2 players to win a 4v2 rather than if you're the 4 and you lose a 4v2. It's so tricky. Regardless, go into the second half, a 9-3, and Vitality needing a bit of a performance here, and that could be a start to it. Gonna put body on the line.
Spike planted.
Big instantly gonna have to work their way back through. But 4 HP for Vac.
I was going to say, yeah, 35 on Brams, 56 on Sender, so definitely doable here. Casper will find Sender as well, so brings it to a 3v3.
Scanning ahead.
Shadow, got to be the playmaker here with that stack of HP. No way Casper's expecting that. What?
What is the cerebral play from some of these players? Great damage coming in, Shadow. It's all on you. It's all in your hands.
No.
And there was nothing left in the mag. Diffuse comes in, and I said it, that first nail was placed. This could be the hammer as 10 is going to be on the board.
I mean, I'd have to watch that back to see how many players are noted on A side, but the fact that Casper finds that kill on Sender and then is still expecting just the re-aggress, or I guess actually one member of Vitality looking to address the flank once again, or at least come round.
Yep.
I mean, they have to make something happen there, so Vac, I guess there is forced to make a decision, but a fight from Cave with a classic. I think he actually threw it was light armor and a classic, as you can see, down to 4 HP, but the fact that Casper reads that, or is at least aware of the possibility, is insane. Absolutely insane.
Right, Vitality is wake up time. Alarms ringing. Kettle's on. Let's have a bit of game out of you, because this is not the start I want to be seeing. I want to see a little bit more fight in them. As Big will take every opportunity they give, of course.
Here.
Just giving Aslan a bit of a haircut, but nothing mortal to be worried about. Already see there's interest being. Oh no, that's not going to work out for you, is it?
That's a perfect though for God B to how to swing on that. Aware of the possibility Brams has got to little deeper within tube. We'll spot him out, but an over peak in this scenario. Twisting back to stairs now. The other 3 members of Vitality stacked up towards Cable, so they might try and move in behind this Viper wall here. Okay.
Spike
Unlucky
planted.
Vac. NT.
Next round. It just feels like Big's getting everything they need. Vitality are getting no room, and I was watching them play, and I mean, Sender was quite impressive to watch. Looked, very individually, talented. And now we're seeing, that Shadow's in a world of danger. Flashed away, forced away. Big 4 alive. Diffuse comes in. 11 to be found in Vitality. We need a spark here. We need something to wake them up, because as much as, yes, we all know the 9-3 curse, it looks like this is about to be broken if it goes on like this.
Very interesting, really, what the... Again, not in terms of ultimates, nothing really to lean back on the way these first 2 rounds have gone. And with the purchase, or at least the investment there, what they can muster together. Guardian, Spectre, Sheriff. Not an awful lot. And again, this round you look towards the Bladestorm. Not available here for Kada. Vitality really have to make something from nothing. I mean, the only benefit being that Big have held on to some of those weapons from the previous round as well. So it's almost a couple of even engagements here in terms of head-to-heads.
Camera.
Tight hit, full set piece coming in, but Casper so prepared for this as well. Cat has just isolated and removed the tip of the spear, now looking blunt. Quick swing from Obnox as well, making light work of that. Big are just so robust in this, and again, they still can't remove Casper. Sitting like a statue on top. Not so fast, Descender. Maybe looking for that late lurk. Looking real lonely now as Aslan takes him out,
Ow.
and it's 12 now. This is, if this is, let's say, the A game from Big, right?
Match
Let's say
point.
this is the A game. This is genuinely a dangerous team. Genuinely very dangerous.
I was so interested was well, Casper obviously setting up completely to counter Kada, basically. Not necessarily Kada, just to counter jet play, right? But he's unnoted for so long. I'm not sure if it's the chaos of that execution or when contact is taken, but you see Bram's just desperately looking. He's like, he's not behind first pillar, guys. So I don't know what you're calling out. He's not behind first pillar. And he finds another kill from there.
Yep. This is it's actually beautiful Valorant to watch from Big, I've got to say. Like, and I've got to say, for me,
Things you've
Vitality
never said
on looking.
before.
Why you gotta do it like that, Mike? Why you gotta do it like
It's
that?
nice to be able to finally say it, right?
It genuinely is, because you're seeing a lot of the theory kind of then with the polish of the individual power, right? You've got all that beautiful theory crafting coming out from the brain, which would be God B, and now you've got the Swarm with Obnox, it looks like, or whomever else stands up at the time. Aslan this time fancies a moment in the spotlight as already Vitality being just chipped away at. This is not
Spike down
kicking and
A.
screaming on the way down. This is just a meek performance from them. I really hope there's more, because this was their choice. This was Vitality's map pick, and right now it's down to two. Vac and Sender, barely 70 HP between them, leaving it all in the hands of Vac and Casper. Remove his head. It's actually Obnox to close out. That's map one done. 13-3.
I mean, Swift, they almost right their wrongs, really. Like I said, it relied a lot on Vitality having as strong a start to their attacking half as the last matchup, but it wasn't there. You could write this off as map one in potentially a long day, but that's worrying. The fact that Big have come back and again, just on the map-by-map basis, adapted so well here and looked so much more comfortable. I guess when you look back at that as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very impressed by the likes of Obnox. I love the look from Big. I think it's not just this, one trick that came in. It didn't look like it was cheesy. It was across the board, I think, there. So I think, Ascent's up next? I don't know what to make of that. That's something we have to then talk about in itself, because that's Big's map choice. So anyway, I think that's enough from us. I think we've got the break ready and raring to go, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to head towards that. And when we're back, we've got plenty more to be seen in this best of 5. This is the lower final. So again, do stick around.
So hard to see the light when the weight of the world is mine. But now I will not resign, and I'm biting my tongue. No, I ain't gonna run. This is the
One city. Brim also city.
जिंकला कारला रे
No.
हम्म
No, झाली.
किती स्कोर आहे
8-9.
in a loop of doing over and over and over again the same setup. We have seen Cypher being on B, we have seen Viper being on A, and they were like adamant on using the utility very early on. We didn't see a single time the Viper utility being used in the same manner that Big was using it as a reactive utility. So they were not keeping their wall for retakes, they were not keeping it for to be like flexible with it. They were just putting it in, and that's it. That's our defense line, and this is how we're gonna play this round. And that was exploited by Big by knowing exactly what what the Vitality is doing.
We talked about adaptation and how this game was going to go around it, but I didn't see Big like struggling at all. I feel like Gotby also was playing exactly the game that we're going to see probably coming up now on Ascent, where he's just playing completely passive, completely to give information to the team, to make the decision, look at the big picture, playing to his utility to the max. And we also talked about how Vitality needed a strong beginning of the day after what happened yesterday, and this has just felt devastating.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it was even slower, right, Kakuka, than yesterday. And Ryan, he said that Big stands for believe in God B. And we spoke about God B's big brain coming into this. But before we throw to a break, Lothar, you got a round to break down for us.
I just wanted to showcase something that we didn't see on Breeze in the past. It's a double boost from Cypher.
Lothar, you got a round to break down for us.
I just wanted to showcase something that we didn't see on Breeze in the past. It's a double boost from Cypher on a round, which was very impactful. Not something that you can predict easily. the Cypher is being boosted and then pillared by 2 players. That was by Sky and Sova. And now he's standing in a Cypher cage where he's not visible, can take advantage of his traps. And look, he gets info if someone is close to the pillar because that Cypher cage triggers an audio. And no one is aware of him being there because he's just hidden all the time with a Spectre. Spectre or a Phantom in that position will not leave traces coming out of this Cypher cage, which is important, and also will not leave an audio cue apparent of his position. So it's a very smart positioning, a defensive position from Casper here that allows him to dictate how he holds the entire site and how he gives information about the players already going into the early positions on the site. Superb play.
Yeah, completely. The way that they designed the site to their likes. And also we mentioned, Lothar, when we were watching it, we didn't break out this round, but when Vitality decided to force, I think we still need to talk about it, decided to force, they went into a very odd push because I feel like whenever you decide to force on a second round after you lose the pistol, you need a very strong decision. You need a plan and to work around it as much as you can. And by picking that Marshall and pushing through mid and not having the exact idea of where you're pushing, where they're taking the space, and how are you gonna work with Big literally not giving you anything, not a single pick.
Yeah, the thing with that force was that when Vitality wanted to force after losing the pistol round but getting the plant, they went for 3 Spectres, 1 Marshal, 1 Sheriff, and if you have a buy like that, you just want to play as a team and go into one direction with 5 people to overcome the similar hardware that your opponents have. But instead, they opted for a lurk with a Marshal on mid, which was the initiation of the round without any pressure being done from other sides of the map, which essentially put the Marshal in a position when he is definitely being checked. Yeah. So that was a big fail on the execution of that force, and it did cost Vitality essentially the entire chance of coming back in that map.
Totally.
Yeah, some big mistakes made there. But this is just map 1. We have a best of 5 today, which is going to be an absolute marathon. Big, they take the first map. We're going to take a little break here, but don't worry, guys. We have more Valorant action coming up right after this.
Nice. Take off, long. Oh my.
Let's get the money.
Well, the first map was Team Vitality's map pick, and now we're moving on to Big's map pick, which is going to be Ascent. I'm back here with Lothar and Kukuka. I want to talk about the agents real quick, because we saw one KO earlier on Breeze. It wasn't the most impactful KO, but moving on to this one here, Obnox was absolutely insane on the last map. Kukuka is expected to move on to the KO here.
And it's not only that, and the fact that it's going to bring a lot of joy into the game. We're probably going to see a mirror comp on both sides, and I'd love to see the Cypher. I know that you like the Killjoy better, especially you, Sue, but I feel also in this map, for Big, the adaptation that they had against Alliance was massive from one day to the other. Also, the fact that Casper was playing around the Cypher utility, knowing how to play against a KO, which is, you know, if you're able to master not only playing with the KO, working to your best, the fact that you play around his utility, knowing that you're going to be able to help your team from out the sides, it's going to be massive, I feel like. And knowing that they're going to start on the attack and how strong they've become on this side, I'm going to say this is going to be a 2-0.
Oh, whoa, that's strong words. But I wanted to touch on something that you mentioned. It's going to be a mirror match, but only when it comes to the lineup, most likely, of course. Because even if they play the same characters, the pace of the game that they represent is completely different. Vitality is more based towards the late game. They planned very often on B side at 70 to 75 seconds in the round, while Big is more evenly paced out, and they even have like the most amount of plans being done in the first 30 seconds. So there's a big difference in how they approach the attack, but at the same time, Big has like this big trademark on the defense, which can be easily be punished, and that's Gob B being over aggressive on B side on defense. He's pushing out like crazy right there, and when they were playing against Alliance, this was being punished a lot. But at the same time, Big, when they were playing against Alliance on Ascent, did punish Alliance for being exactly that, like being over aggressive, over peaking, specifically also when Alliance had advantages on defense, like 4 versus 3, they were still pushing out. And that's where Big actually had patience and were just waiting for the opponent to peek into the crosses, and were turning around rounds that they had a big disadvantage in. So I wonder if this is going to happen here again, because we have seen this on Breeze against Vitality just like a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna let you finish, Kuka, but we're gonna head into Agent Select now. Go on, make your point. Just want to make sure you guys know Agent Select is coming.
Oh, perfect. But I mean, it's perfect that Agent Select is here, because I actually wanted to talk about how Brams is going to be playing on the Astra, and we're going to see Aslan now here. Now, the versatility of Aslan is something that we can talk about for hours, but I feel it's one of the major. Okay. Lothar, is there anything that you like about what we're seeing? Because I'm going to stop right here to let you speak.
I think you're a little bit of ahead, but yes, we're gonna...
Sender's done the thing. He's done the thing.
I'm gonna be very excited. You know, guys, not seeing it yet, but you're gonna see it in a moment. Sender is gonna log in Chamber, and I'm insanely happy about that. Insanely happy, because this is one of the agents that allows you to change the entire game. Now with Jet and Chamber in one lineup, they're allowed to essentially change 2 low buys into 2 full buys in an entire half. Typically, that's statistically speaking, because of the ultimates, they are delivering so much potential free guns to the team. And also, he is so good on lurking on this map, because those traps have full range on the map, just like Cypher, right? So he's kind of like a Cypher on this map, just like on Breeze, but he allows to have more firepower. So I'm insanely excited. I'm gonna break down a lot of stuff that Cinder will be doing post map.
I can't wait.
I mean, this is... Yeah, no, go on.
I can't wait to see how the utility is going to be used by Sender. Really is the thing that I'm looking forward with the most in this map. All those trademarks, and actually, you know, spotting all the players, and you know, if you're going to change that Sentinel over to Chamber, I can't wait. I think it's going to be very exciting. The changes that were coming in for Big now are coming in for Vitality, knowing that they're probably going to see each other in this map.
I mean, this is what they need, right? I feel like losing on their map picks 2 days in a row, Breeze, is not working for them. And Lothar, maybe something fresh and new could be the trick for them to turn this around.
Look, Chamber on this map is nuts because his traps and also his ultimate are having that slow that slow AOE target on someone who is hit by it, right? So it allows to essentially stop an entire push because Ascent, when you look at the mini map, the only way of going into a site is by very tight spots, by very small corridors. So that trap, that slow from Chamber is actually insanely impactful. His ultimate is so tough to just stop. He has just so much, let's say, a freedom of what he wants to do, what he wants to achieve, how he wants to play the round. He can be aggressive, he can have faster rotations. It just depends on how the playstyle of the player will just be chosen by him, you know, and how to play Chamber. Sorry, that was really confusing.
It's all right. Well, we're all very excited for Chamber. I can't wait to see what Pansy and Hypog think about this new agent.
Well, you know what? I do want to talk about Chamber. I really do. And I think it's obviously the main point. I know, right? We will get to it, but let's roll it back a little bit. Talk to me about this map, because it has been played by both sides. Let's kind of start on coming into Ascent. This is the choice for Big. Now, pound for pound, where do you sit on this being maybe either a good pick for Vitality or that this was a needed change that Yinzu kind of alluded to for Vitality?
So it's interesting, again, we talk about the validity of kind of their recent results, right? And I think that probably leans in favor of Big with those two alliance performances. Obviously, Koi is one to talk about on the flip side of that, but Big actually starting on the attack here is a huge talking point for me, because I think they're averaging like 8 rounds on their attack in halves, which is insane.
Okay.
And again, with how map 1 went, that's kind of a concern if you look at things for Vitality. If Big are able to build up a big lead, but on the defensive side, it's actually
two frenzies and Chamber. Oh my, this could be something. And then leading into, do you think this is the antidote then? Do you think adding Chamber on Sender will supplement this? Do you think this is actually a very good look coming out for Vitality?
I do, and I think that this, in terms of expectation, what we're going to see from Big, we're going to see a very deep default. Already here, you're seeing Vac actually get a little curious with Kada behind him over towards A, and we did see this at the start of Breeze, right? That kind of willingness to be proactive in terms of information gathering. Chamber and Jet complement each other perfectly. At both sides of the map, you can kind of have these retreat opportunities here, but straight away Big on the back of that contact from A are going to progress on towards B site. We'll find actually Shadow Brams finds 2 here.
1 enemy remaining.
Yeah, this is beautiful work coming out. That's a shutdown. It's 5 alive and Vitality instantly answer back. And it's a necessary flawless. I think that's a big mental pickup of a round as well. But let's talk about the impact that's had. Brams looks sharp as hell on that too. Gets completely unnoted, gets away with basically a free shooting range. But Big, I mean, I want to see what they come in with here, because we talk about their ability to adapt and read the play and kind of see, if the teams, if you played them once, you don't want to get away with the same things twice, right? I think that's a fair assessment of Big. However, if there's now a change-up, if there's a new look, can they adapt on the fly? Are they able to create that sort of fluidity to play when there's a new dynamic in play?
Big straight away going to try and close down towards A here. Vac actually will punish. Straight away, this is to address that aggression in the pistol round. At least Obnox tagged up there, reload down to 15 HP. Vitality will force their way through here. Actually, Vac has a smoke to move inside. I don't know if he was noted there. It doesn't look like he was, but yeah, another flawless round. And like you said, in terms of confidence, getting back on the board, that's the way to start off map 2.
This is a lovely start, and this isn't really on the back of Chamber potentially or anything that's out of the ordinary. This is just generally a very strong start for Vitality, and hopefully this echoes throughout the game, because we know that Big can play the fundamentals to a very high standard. So I want to see now on this buy round how this looks, because on the other side, of course, this is where something like Chamber and Jet can generally kind of levy the difference, right? They're able to kind of fill any void if they feel as though the round's viable and they want to kind of try and convert it. This is where I want to really look towards that, as to how much damage actually can be done. The look actually comes out like. As already, Kada's going to get a good chunk of information, spotting Twisted on the cross. Jump peeks towards the back. And Big at least going to start taking that A-side control, but it's not necessarily a commitment from them yet.
Interested to see actually Casper positioned very deep here, anticipating push through from Sender. Oh, actually spots in there. Well, at least it looked like he spotted arm of Sender sticking out from that wall. It's interesting to see actually Sender and Vac both being aggressive on the same side of the map. Yeah, big.
Taking that back.
Try and progress up short here, up catwalk, and decent position here to split onto A. Bram's completely unaware.
Twiston, I feel, you saw him on the first map absolutely popping off, but that was just a bit of a shaky shot, but it'll be fine. As Vitality are going to also fall away, so a little bit deeper, calling those rotations. Casper is towards sight though, so there could be problems, as there it is. 4 still stand, and looking towards Vac and Sender to do a little bit more damage if they can get down one more. This could be imperative.
Gun here.
Be able to retrieve something up on Heaven here. Sender, before he can even get anything done, will be shut down. Back, the last man standing. You find any further damage here. Again, looking for Big to hold on to 3 rifles. And they will do just that. Just to come back, again, talking about the possibilities here for both Sender and Vac, and you really look for Kada and Shadow to be the second layers to these kind of, I guess, aggressive, you call it that, call it proactive in terms of, seeking out what the setup is from Big. It's interesting to see them both explore into B main. Again, the rotation came early enough, so I think it's fine in this scenario, but that's what I've got my eye on here. It's just the variations to this defensive setup, and actually now with Vac on the operator, we send over towards A main with Kada.
Yeah. Substantially cheaper double op to run, and Vac going to show you the impact that this can have. Already going to put down Twist and trying to build that mid control, but he can fall away from this. Again, he doesn't have to overstay his welcome. And it looks like Big is still trying to aggress towards middle here.
I'm around. 2 people to make sure that there's no big members that are able to slip through. Back again, looking to re-aggress. You'll find God B spike noted
Spike down,
as
mid.
well. Damage actually onto any of the Vitality players right now, so they can stack up around this.
And Bram seems all too aware of the possibility of someone trying to walk the smoke towards top middle, but he filled that gap just perfectly as Aslan and Casper not looking so likely to get anything. Vitality again, when they win clean. They've had 3 flawless rounds now.
Pretty impressive. Again, not really on the back of anything special than that round. Vac just finding the opener for free. Digs his heels in just outside market. Rewarded for it. Again, as soon as the spike's noted there, interesting to see none of Vitality over-aggress, right? There's no swing through short. He's holding position. Kada actually plays perfectly from the switch. I like the fact he throws the underhand flash and just delays his peak by half a second to avoid some of that spam. Doesn't get punished for it. Still no Blade Storm available yet. Nothing really for Big to work with here other than Bob knocks on a Guardian.
If anything, this could play in Sender. You look at this for Vitality. 5 standing. Don't get overly enthused by trying to get the frags. Sender plays it well.
Nice little bait from Brams there as well. They played him in perfectly. Casper curious towards B. We'll note Shadow's recon bolt here and knows it came from pretty deep. Tag, but no real damage to write home about. Wisdom will actually find the punish though on Sender. Don't know if they're going to be able to retrieve that weapon
Pulling
though.
them in.
And there should be the... Whoever has the calming voice on Vitality of just keep this chilled, boys. We don't need to over-aggress, do too much. Play it out. Again, Big just kind of going through the motions at this point. Again, the old Torb slowly building towards it. Bobby's now got his ready to go.
30 seconds left.
They're seeming very aware. And I mean, Spike's in spawn. And Kata's just potentially hearing a lot of these steps.
Yeah, actually, Kada will definitely note Casper, but whether or not he noted the first 2 players ahead of that. You already see Vac.
Ooh, and the smoke fades.
Vac's here pretty early on, so I think they've got a good idea. This is a possibility. And the first and the second. Gonna get the third. Casper gonna swing out Vac on point with the operator right now. Vitality clean things up. Big not able to get anything done on the back. Just the Guardian, Lauren, but
yep,
well handled.
I mean, again, for me, I like that Kata kind of pushed up mid, took that space, didn't over-aggress, didn't try and be the the playmaker from it, but more to relay the information, get back to the correct positioning. And again, even for Vac here, not kind of allowing any trade to come in, playing this very smart, sitting on that fade swing at the end there, just making sure it's difficult. And Kata had mid the entire time, so there's no late lurk coming up middle that could have maybe complemented that spike plant going down if it was something that was coming through. So Vitality looking very calm and collected, and that's what I like to see, not overzealously trying to claw back anything, even if you only got one pick against you. That's pretty solid. So this time Sender, there's that little bit of chamber magic already coming in. Gonna keep him safely off the peak.
Just on that, now that they have the double op setup, which is an interesting talking point, now they can kind of control both sides of the map, right? Or potentially Vac looking down mid once again. But they have two massive tools in terms of early map control. And again, two agents that can do that kind of one and done, right? They have that safety of retreat.
But there is something as a turnaround, is that you just play pure sight hits, right? This is where you have to lean into that, which does also play towards Chamber, because he does have those, I guess, slow AoE effects, right? So it does make it a little bit trickier to make it work. Spike gets lost on the cross, but it should be collected and now moved forward. Vac a little too far ahead, and Obnox with the punish towards Sender. This is perfect. They didn't have to overpeak on this. Vitality could have held for a second, maybe a little bit of discipline shown, but now Brams and Shadow put to task in a 2v3. I don't know how they're going to break this one back.
I almost want to know where the hell Obnox was off to there, but to look back at that. Rams and Shadow now with it all to do on the way back in. Punish that. Shadow finds a response, though. Can he find another? Aslan very low HP.
This is where it gets really problematic for Shadow.
Nice on Crossfire.
Crossfire was going to be held, yeah. And you could even see Aslan playing a little bit safer. It may not have been the instant trade, but it would have been there. So well done for Big. And I've got to say, if you're going to run a double op, right, there are answers to it. And someone who's going to know those answers will be someone like God B, right? They're something that we've seen for quite some time in games like Counter-Strike, that obviously he has his veteran status through, so he's well aware of how to handle the aspect of it. I'm surprised that Vitality almost over-pushed a little in some of those moments there. I felt they could have sat back and played for the retake on that potentially with a couple more players, but again, we'll once again get to see this potentially come through later down the line. For now, we see one of the ops with Vac, and an early start here. Sender gonna get a 1-for-1 trade out. Twiston gonna put him to bed, but already Vac's in a bit of danger. Yeah, put in the corner, unable to play out of it, and it looks like they want to speed up the pace here. Shadow is gonna find one. Is he able to find more? Yes! Shadow turns on a dime and finds two. Now he needs some more. He gets more. Shadow, how are you doing this? As Vitality convert the round off the back of Kata in the end, shutting down Aslan. But that looked perfect for Big until Shadow made his appearance.
That was crazy. Twiston somehow manages to line of sight Shadow behind his weapon model, tries to get a kill with the Bladestorm. Shadow just readjusts perfectly on that. Wow, that was actually insane. I think we might get a chance to take a second look at this here.
Because at the start, I thought, right, there's the trade, and here's the explosion towards the site, right? Like, once Vac got kind of cornered, no, you don't get to see it, Mike.
I wanted to, for the record.
Tough. Absolutely tough. Now, because he got cornered on the site, so I thought, well, it's done for, but turn of events for Shadow, and it did feel like he was a bit of a backbone on the last map, but he wasn't able to make impact in the rounds that were converted at least, but he was still trying to have that presence. But good to see him finding a little bit of it here. 5-2, Vitality looking sharp. Sender can be played in off this with Kata by his side.
Actually, first gets traded out now, but out to 3v2. Bobby and Casper can recover anything here. Vac, the operator, nothing really to feel out, but the neural theft will give away
One enemy remaining.
the information necessary. He still finds it there. That's a little push up outside of B main just to catch that before they make their way up through Catwalk. Interesting, again, I know Lothar noted this in terms of the economical advantage here, but with Vitality building up a 4-round lead now, looks like you don't see the other side of that. Sender obviously has his ultimate available. The Tour de Force, you can drop a weapon across, and obviously Vac right now operates. So again, it's sort of like the same variation we'll see from this double operator setup. Sender this time around, peeking towards B main. Try and dip out maybe on the other side of this. Back on the other side of the map on short. Oh yeah, mid no secrets about this push from Big.
Yeah, Sender though feeling aggressive and confident. Does punish Aslan, but that big play up middle is still looking deadly as Obnox turns around and actually finds two. Kata and Brams get caught off. Now this is from Sender. He's isolated. He can dip away, but he gets found! Twisted out of the air. Sender. What a bit of impact from him. 40 HP. Can he still do something with it? Turns the flash. He's still standing, but only for so long. Obnox keeping things together, and so many ridiculous moments already.
That was a nice shot, though.
Which one? Obnox
onto-
turning
the one
around,
onto
battering to a
twisting.
mid,
The one
the
onto
mid-air.
twisting.
Yeah, you like that one.
It's the montage shot, right?
Trap destroyed.
Again, this is more of what you want to see with this setup in terms of making this composition work. And, well, Obnox actually didn't even catch that. Must have been looking at the minimap, but squashing that aggression before it really gets going. Only one ultimate invested though. Look at Vitality's setup now. It's not even scratching the surface in terms of this ultimate cycle. Only the Hunter's Fury available for Big. And already, I mean, overperformance in terms of what we were expecting for Big on the attacking half here. Got to scrape together 3 rounds so far. So yeah, very early rotation, at least initially there. Kada will commit to it, but it looked like Vac was already in position to either pick up the mid market peak or make his way towards B site itself.
Much deeper hold from Vitality
Scanning
here.
ahead.
After showing great deals of aggression through either short, the extremities, towards A and B. This time, very deep hold towards the back of the site, so might be a full sight hit on the cards, maybe just trying to not play into the weaker weaponry investment coming out from Big, but already they are going to at least get the 1-2 players towards the site. Spike looking to be ferried across now. Twiston looking to maybe do some damage. That's now dangerous. Vac going to pop the ult. Has to respect it a second, but he's still looking for that pixel out of place. But 3 players going to play back in through mid. But look who's waiting. It is Obnox, and this guy has been a monster. And that monster comes alive again. Gather and send. He gets Shadow as well. This guy's a beast. What a performance, be it on Sky, now be it on KO. He's showing some real diligence, but there is Brams and there's Vac still standing. This round's not over yet.
Before try and find something early here though, as the spike is ticking away. Twiston will seal the deal on this round now. Vac forced to hold on to this operator for dear life. It's just crazy again. Obnox and 3Ks. And again, that's a position where with 3 pushing up catwalk and 1 player in tree, that should be a 1 and done for Obnox. That just goes to show. Okay, right. So Twiston will catch back on the way out there. So operator removed. And the maximum economical damage done. But he has been on fire today for Big. In situations like I said there, he's good for 1, right? And at that point, I think on the way back in, Vitality probably have a 1-man disadvantage, and he completely shuts the door on this retake before it even gets started, Lauren.
Yep. Hey, they're listening. They're calling timeouts. We like to see that. Maybe try and take the wind out of Big sails as well a touch. But it looks like Big have found, I don't even say an answer, really. It's still kind of difficult.
I mean, I would counter that with, I think,
putting some rounds up.
I'd counter that with saying Vitality have found an answer, really. It's Big now.
Yes.
They have a window of opportunity to show some adaptation towards the end of this half. Hopefully push for that 6-6. But if anything, this is Vitality really, I guess, exceeding my expectations, particularly from map 1. And like I said, the validity of those recent match results, this chamber kind of suiting them. And it's not really in the way in which I was expecting. In terms of, countering both extremities, in terms of early information gathering, particularly on the defense. I'm really interested to see what they make happen on the attacking half with it as well now.
Yeah, I'm enjoying its presence in the game, and it's felt like you're right. It's really complemented what they're trying to do. It's supplemented maybe some of the issues they had before, because they haven't had a great run on this map, Vitality. If anything, it's looked a little hit and miss. Big taking on some bigger names, managing to convert some, I guess, more impressive results. But already, looks like a play up towards short with a triple stack just sat in this cubby. Oh, this is going to be nasty if they actually walk into this one. It looks like a little bit of a trap set here. Twisted on the corner. Senders now send it, and here comes the second layer to the second string of the hit, and actually it works with Vitality. They put it all in to try and deny at least one approach, but already Obnox has got himself towards sight. But the spike hasn't committed. There's still room to breathe as Aslan gonna find Kada and now open up that paranoia that's... Wait, there's still one by B. Oh, and Obnox pushing up towards heaven. How are they getting these picks back?
It's crazy to see Big and their ability to slow down the round at this point when they have somebody so deep on A site. Gob actually catches that headshot there. I think, yeah, it does 140 down to 10 HP now. Obnox relaying this information that he should have safe passage to A site. Shadow and Vac to try and recover this A man down.
Revealing area.
Full utility on Shadow, though.
Gonna be trying to do what he can.
That did a lot
Very
of
low
damage.
amount of HP. That is a good chunky amount.
Oh, no!
Dear. Oh dear.
Spike down.
I guess
A.
you get what he
30
put out into the
seconds
world.
left.
Something like that. Shadow gonna just do one better. Spike going down. See, setting this into motion. 2v2. Shadow and Vac up against Aslan and Obnox. And actually, two of the players who've really popped off in this already. So this could be quite the battle. Obnox has been a monster. They clear short. No presence.
So I think Aslan
Now this is
unnoticed
where
at
it
this
gets
point.
tricky. I don't think they know. Yeah, because he was kind of on that long rotate through spawn. Not giving much away. Vac though going to work in quite quickly towards this. And Obnox going to be trying to play as patient as possible. Gets the information when that spike gets tapped. That's one. He wants to follow up as well. He can't get it, but now it's on Aslan. Patience has to be his virtue here. Patience actually not shown at all, but timing-wise, Mike, Shadow's going to be right down to the wire on this.
Just about,
He's got it.
1.2 seconds left on that. And I think you're right. Aslan, I mean, again, seeing the defuse time obviously confirms it.
Last round
You need
in
to
the
wait
half.
out a little longer. Almost Aslan is the one to take first contact. The benefit,
I'd have liked
the
that.
benefit of a plant in that position is it gives you that crossfire towards main, which, you know, other plant positions traditionally towards default, it makes it, it's almost like you have to play a crossfire from hell. In that scenario there, it's almost like Aslan needs to be the one to bait for that player in hell.
Push him, so yeah. Because again, obviously, we saw the Jet cross closer in towards Obnox to kind of make that,
Yes,
close the
yeah.
gap, maybe check towards hell. So it had to be
down A.
earlier to try and
30
pull that
seconds.
attention
Get
over
out
towards
of my
main.
way.
But hindsight and all that jazz, but something for that post plant that could be nice. And here comes that underhand flash, catching two. Kata gonna try and lock him in the corner, and this is the aggression on the extremities. We expected to be seeing a great deal more with maybe Chamber at the helm of it. Asper with the Quake gun, it looks like there. That's nice. Changing that gun model around, why not? 3v2 though, and this is favourable towards Vitality. It's 7-4 though. This could be a nice way to kind of round this one out.
Big thing being here, Kata does have his ult here for the retake, so Ender and Shadow just need to, I mean, let this happen. Big really need to be the ones to try and find a kill ahead of this retake coming through. They might
Spike
try
planted.
and pressure towards Sender. No.
They're gonna try and push it? I'm wondering.
It looked like they did,
Bob's
right?
gonna send something in,
They're
yeah.
going to try and arrow through that smoke. They do, yeah, Aslan finds it.
Yeah, it was a nice little set piece. Give them at least now an even post-plant 3v3. And they get to take in towards Market, which is actually a nuisance if they try and cross through. You can see the attention put towards this. Casper's going to punish Kata, and now it's down to 2. Shadow still stands, and this man's been an absolute immovable object on towards the site. Vac still focused towards the back of site, and Godby wins a critical fight for them. Putting now Shadow in a
The
really
drone, man.
undesirable spot. And Shadow, it's all been noted, and it's all about time, and Aslan
That is
is going to play it down to
That
the
is
second. That was a
beautiful.
very nice. Yeah, I step by step.
Last
Let's see.
enemy
I love
remaining.
that proactive play to
Switching
give them that
sides.
player advantage on someone who's potentially isolated. Love that. They take that space back. So many of those little moments there, Hypok. Talk us through what was your favorite then?
But
'Cause,
again,
that really stood out to me.
This is another round where Big demonstrates such a just a fantastic grasp of when to slow things down, right? They're slow in approach, and I think that's actually to wait for Godby's arrow to come back off cooldown, right? This smoke goes
Oh,
over
yeah,
market, and like I said, they looked as if they were going to get a little bit aggressive. Whether or not they were called back there, and Godby says, "Look, guys, wait another couple of seconds. I can arrow you through that smoke," and that's ultimately what wins them this round. They get a kill ahead of Kata popping his ult, which means that they're able to then spread out. Like you said, it's so difficult to dig players out of market in that scenario. A fantastic post-plant hold there from Big.
Really impressive. And again, this is all under the notion that we're aware of that Vitality are still up to the good, but 7-5 is it's as close as, it can be really at this point. You easily turnable off the back of a pistol. So Big can close the gap here, but I want to see what Vitality look like on this attacking side. I always find it very telling how they want to approach. But B just trying to play the game, and he plays it well. Going to take down back for the next layer, the next string to Vitality's approach is looking a little bit more deadly. Shadow there with a good
Spike down,
trade,
B.
takes down Twiston. Godby's still on the
No
side.
way.
He's trying to play him like a fiddle. He does eventually get overwhelmed.
Player
Buys a little
standing.
time for Obnox, but Vitality still with the bigger numbers, favourable numbers, able to trade in effectively.
Just avoiding that. I thought he might even
Boy.
get punished for not shooting that arrow, but again, no confirmation of the info here. So Aslan has an opportunity to at least find an opening peak. Shadow Doesn't spot him on the first, does on the second. The shot will confirm it now, but Shadow down to 10 HP here. Has to be the first in the double swing. The link for Vitality. Shadow finds his third. Pistol round goes in favor of Vitality.
The trading and the spacing then from Vitality I really liked, because you saw the potential of a couple of moments that could have been a bit more deadly. The spacing was great, keeping players in the right place to make sure they trade a kill if it does come through. Absolutely love that. So 8 to 5 Vitality showing a little bit of that strength, a little bit of that, just nice cohesion amongst the team. And again, at this point, talk about keeping it clean, a little bit trickier obviously on the attacking side, but again, I want to see them kind of hit that nice, maybe a sight take, where maybe feel out the stack if there is one. I just want to see them go through the checklist.
A heavy lean towards B once again. It's only Casper and God B. Hold it down. Both will be noted there. Both suppressed, so. But Vitality don't seem to explode on the back of that. I think they're conscious of a third player present, but it's already pulled this rotation, Lauren.
It has, and this is where things can get a little bit scarier because you want to feel out the stack, right? You don't want to walk into it, but for now, you have the players falling away towards the site. It's going to be Godby taking contact. Now, that's fine if he falls. That kind of confirms his presence. That's where the problems begin, though. Twiston finding back. Now, suddenly Vitality know there's way too many players here. And the tags come in. Godby still standing, can't convert. Sender on the corner, and now what has gone on here? It's a 1v3, and Brams all but noted. Every step heard. Aslan on confirmation. Twiston wants the frag, but there it is. Big hit the rotations correctly. Everything was perfect for them. And a big conversion there for the side.
Like I said, on the back of that confirmation, so early on in that round, it's interesting to see Vitality approach that so cautiously. Again, no information on the rest of the map. I understand that, but again, at that point, smoke on market, smoke on CT, and try and force through. The only thing that causes problems for Vitality there is the time it takes them to clear through B main. Really, really interesting to see. And again, I guess there's that anti-eco factor ticking over in their heads, right? They're conscious of the stack with scrappy weapons.
Night, night.
That's nice from Twiston to open up there.
Ooh. Oh, Twiston kind of feeling himself. And the HP, look at it. This is we can really play well to him. And
One
actually
enemy
spam
remaining.
perfectly fine as well. Got 1v4. Not gonna happen. Twiston just padding out the stats, getting confident, feeling himself. We saw what happened with the likes of Obnox on map 1 when they start feeling that confidence build up, where everything's hitting, you got that hot hand in game, feels good. Twiston's having a little bit of a moment, but Obnox is not far behind. 14 kills already, 16 for Twiston. On the other side, it's been Vac and Shadow. So again, the kind of parallels on either side. And 8 to 7. Mike.
I'd love for both map 1 and map 2 to talk about Obnox being on Sky and then on KO, but it's been so self-sufficient in some of these scenarios that those numbers actually you're going to credit that to just him popping off in some of these rounds.
Yeah.
So again, even in some rounds where Twiston is enabled almost, second layer to potentially big success. Way here, Twiston tries to find something over the top of the blade. Storm won't spot anything, so preemptively rotate. Actually, flown. A flash was a dud. Lands on top of the crate there, didn't find anything. Drone will spot out at least one member. Very slow in approach here and allowing Big to actually aggress here. And they're able to get out of hot water there, actually all the way over towards A main. Tucked in towards Sub Rosa there.
And patience being displayed. You saw the early intention from Vitality, that kind of like start towards A, but then the lean back through, looking for that maybe mid control. See if they can bait Twiston in a little bit deeper, but he's not really overcommitting to much. It still looks like this A piece is coming in, but Obnox is the one there, and he's felt out the pressure instantly. That's going to be big information found. 3 agents noted, but even with the information, they start to deal with them. But Twiston, timing's everything! And Kama reads him like a book. That could have been such a game changer in this, but it's not to be. Beautiful work on the other side. And now the spike's going to go down. You can't do much. This is a save every day of the week.
Right decision here from Casper and got beat. We're flipping this half early. Again, keeping the scoreline within reach as well. This is 1 round now, only going to be 2 after conclusion. Yeah, you look at it again. If Casper and Godby go first, potentially they give Kada an ultimate, potentially they give Shadow an ultimate for the next. But again, on the flip side of that, it's Vac and Sender getting one closer. Just an orb away. We'll obviously Vitality lean on that early in the next round. Your death ball execution behind Kada's ultimate. Yeah, interesting to see Vitality slowing things down and Big absolutely making the most of that, right? They're looking to take space in mid. It's looking to proactively find that first blood.
A gift.
Sender's got his TP set up towards spawn here. So you're already showing the position on that.
That's not ready.
It's trap down and make use of the free cooldown fire phase.
That
2-1-2
works.
from Big here, and twisting with that operator. Nobody entertaining that initially in the early round on the side of Vitality. No peaks at all towards it.
No, and I love this exchange of utility, especially with like 2 KOs on play. Now you've obviously got, you know, Chamber added in. That those early interactions are actually so scary.
It slows it down so much as well.
Yeah.
Flashbang.
The utility already invested just to retake a peek towards short. For example, here you can see Obnox trying to set in Twiston a little bit, give him some support there. Finds nothing close on Cat, at least falls away now, playing towards backbite tree. And again, patience from Vitality. This is the maybe just trying to wait out a lot of the early utility, trying to, you know, keep things the right way. I'm not against it either. Maybe feeling there's a little bit too much pressure towards that A site for now, as it looks like I'm curious where they're going to end here, because they're still looking like they're uncertain potentially, but it does still look like it's the safeties.
Kada does obviously retrieve that orb, and that kind of death ball behind the ultimate sort of execution does favour the late round.
Enemy suppressed.
One will be noted by Obnox.
That's enough of. I still feel that's a big tell.
30
if it's
seconds
Jet
left.
especially.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I think
don't
so.
know. You're going to be leave her lurking anywhere else, so they might have to.
I cannot use that.
Come off the back of this already. Aslan though going to be kind of put to place. Just the rifle at his side. A little bit of a swing comes out from Obnox, and away we go. Now the spike is still towards main. That's with Kata. They've got 13 seconds. This isn't going to work. They just
Spike
don't
down
try and
A.
pull
Yeah.
big rounds against big. It doesn't work. Yeah, Shadow can get a little punish, sure, but at this point you got 4 alive and no one's falling for any of it.
I mean, I can see the intention there, but I mean, Sender and Shadow trying to sell a fake with the Aldrome, maybe for Shadow to find a kill and play off that Hunter's Fury, or at least play for the orb on B, but the timing just seemed way off there. Of when Kata pops his ult, of when Vac dashes onto site, they haven't created enough paranoia on B. There's almost nothing to draw that rotation. So Big just... they sit comfortably, ready to greet it. At that point, it's a 2v3 for Vitality, for Vac and Kata at least. Really, really strange round to watch back, actually.
Yeah, definitely a little curious. And definitely a different look from Big here. Going to be postured up a little bit deeper. Going to maybe place Aslan towards Wine for now. Actually going to dip back away while they get a second of respite already. 3 players aggressing that side, but now the spike has at least switched up, right? We're going to see that over towards the B side this time. Slower in approach.
And I mean, for me, this is a little bit of a concern to see Vitality lean deeper into this default. Now, obviously, the economy feeling a little more delicate. But I don't see them really learning anything from these early rounds. Like I said previously with Kata's ult, yes, it suits a late round hit, but it was only one person behind it. In this scenario,
Here.
they do drift back towards B pretty early on, 50 seconds left on the clock. They know nothing of the setup here, so they've got to walk clear through all of this.
I don't like this at all.
Yeah.
This is playing so perfectly to what Big want to do in this. Vitality can be playing against the odds. They can still win, technically, obviously, but it comes down to just the rifle at the side, right? Like that's not a theory you want to be running. Twiston gets good information as well. I'm pretty sure he noted 2 players there, if I'm not mistaken. So again, big pull comes in. They can get the rotations through. Good work from Sender, but still, it's a 4v3. Down to 17 seconds. Spike yet to get towards site. Twiston still at the back. He's still a support.
One enemy
Casper right there
remaining.
with him as well. So even if Kata wins this, if he tries to get towards the site, his body's in the way, so Kata's trying to do what he can, isolate another, but time, and Gobby's loving it. He's going to make him take so long. Every single fight's going to be laboured, and Big just have to sit back and wait.
I mean, yeah, you can credit Twiston for being the right place at the right time with the right weapon, right? That's ultimately, the last thing the Vitality want to have to walk clear in B main is an operator tucked in. Like I said, they've not achieved enough in the early round to play like this. Very strange. And again, a pace change that hasn't suited them at all. Like you said, it leans so heavily in favor of Big. Now, the economy's starting to suffer and rounds are all tied up. It's 9-9.
What's this?
You want to play? Let's play.
And we go again. Vitality. Let's see if they can do anything with this one. It seems like the answer so far is no. Sender trying to maybe be the crowning jewel of this, but so far, Big are just not playing to the tune Vitality want to set. A bit of a impact there from Kada, but at this point, again, Sender's been sent back. Kada's kind of isolated on the back of site, and what do you do with this? Sender, if he can get maybe round towards Market, this would be a reach, because Kada needs to live on 36 HP and a whole lot of pressure. It ain't gonna happen. Sender maybe makes it there in time, gets 1. Has to now find 3.
Nice HP, but Spike's not down in a nice position at all. There's 4 shots left in the ultimate. 25 seconds. Some time to work with, but they're not Big. Are going to give away even the first here in this scenario. Be on red alert.
30 seconds left.
That operator is... Sorry, the Tour de Force is in play at least.
Teleport's ready.
This would be pretty impressive, and that's not looking good.
It's not a good start.
Gobi,
It's not a good
open
start.
arms. No, it's not gonna happen. Okay, I want a timeout from. Did Vitality already call the timeout?
First
This has to be
half,
it, right?
That's...
Yeah, maybe it was first half. I feel like they have to call the timeout soon, because they are
They have to
hitting
pump the
their heads
brakes.
against a
Yeah.
wall.
I mean, effectively, they have, one more buy round before Big will reach match point.
Yep.
Ultimates-wise, Kada 1 away, but there's not an awful lot else to work with.
Okay. So, again, I think the pace is a problem. And to be fair, it has been hard to break in against it, right? You look at the amount of early utility that works very well for Big on this side. It has been quite clear-cut that it's been tricky to, pull off anything, I guess, mid-tempo, right? But what is the adjustment here? What are their options that you see?
The problem being, you look back to where this pace change has come, and I think it's on the back of that round where they tried to play for both orbs. They left Shadow and Sender to try and create some presence over towards B main, and they're just not achieving on anything on the back of those plays, right? Big, like I said, it's almost like they're in a scenario to give up B altogether. Should that happen, they can play retake on B because they have both players that are back towards Market, back towards Spawn. There's no real risk on their side other than overpeaking.
That goes there.
I don't know whether or not the solution here is for Vitality to swing back to playing a little more aggressively and chasing down that first blood, but a real lack of mid presence from Vitality, I feel like it's damaging them. Twiston again going to open things up. Gets away completely unscathed on A. Like I said, now they can read into this. Every single time there's 2 or 3 people behind this early push into A main or towards A lobby to retrieve that orb. Oh, Obnox trying to thread the needle to try and find that wall
Hell. I thought it was going to happen. I think I've been out of casting long enough because I was waiting literally just quietly. I think I have to tell you what's happening in some of these rounds. However, at this point, Sender, Shadow, and Kada, what'd you do? Sender's bailed them out on 2 big picks towards Cat. That's huge. That's the first bit of massive, untradeable impact we've had in a while. So, Freddy Twiston, though, knows that he could be next on the chopping block. That's going to now really note that. So, Suppressed comes in, going to bring out the op.
You are
Already, Twiston, as he pulled the trigger, waiting patiently. There's the grand reveal. That's... Bloody... What is this game? This is madness. Twiston's going to find Kada. Gobi going to try and buy some time here. Desperate for another. Sender denies. Massive impact from this man, though. Sender's doing really nicely this round. And the res comes in. That's huge. 3v2 now. Man advantage towards Vitality, and Gobi rips it away. Kada back down. And this time out. And Shadow and Sender desperate to find that pick, and there's the divide coming in. Big utility coming out late round here. 15 seconds. What do you do now?
Actually, it gives Sender a blanket of safety here to move behind this wall,
10
make it
seconds
way
left.
all the way over towards B side. They won't even hear the door get popped here. We'll get a plant just in time, about half a second to spare.
Spike planted.
To be able to get set up here. Shadow, got to find something through B main though. A little bit disconnected on the way back in for Aslan and God B. Shadow hasn't caught this push yet. He's a very late round piece here. Sender will find his fourth. Just one left to find for Vitality.
He's being the difference maker at the moment. Sender bailing them out with those 2 huge picks on short was everything, and he's going to get the ace as well.
Did you enjoy the show?
Deserving too, and necessary. Look, maybe the tactical
There's the
time was
solution.
like, hey, Sender, go
Yeah,
ace.
there's the solution. That's how
yes, that's
you
it.
win a couple more rounds here, Vitality. Just let Sender find an ace.
Hey, credit to him for doing it. I mean, that's again, the first 2 picks really got my attention.
Enemy remaining.
I guess the rotation was facilitated a little by that, the wall that goes up. But again, can't blame him when Sender's just popping off here. Beautiful swing from him. Yeah,
Did
lovely
you-
work. But now find repetition in that success.
Straight away. Big. Answer it perfectly. Again, an early first blood. Kada will fall. One of the initiators off the board here for Vitality. And again, this default. Fairly transparent, honestly. Got to be actually baited into the corner here. If he can find a kill, he will. Rams almost double glances at it, but still punished. Again, look at the A setup here, Laura. It's completely unfaltered. They're tucked in. Spy cam here to find any push through.
Got you.
This is tough for Vitality to break.
I mean, this is right back to where we were.
Yeah, exactly.
This is exactly where we were. And again, it's one of those games, right? Like, if it's going to be slow on the attack, that's just what it is, right? They try and get a little bit of a start towards a B site, and they just get met by a brick wall of Twiston. Yeah, it's difficult, and they hit this kind of slower approach, which plays very well to Big, because Big don't tend to overreach too much, especially if you're playing like this. They're not going to just
30
feed
seconds
into it,
left.
right? And now, again, this is just boatloads of information just pouring on through. Obnox seems aware that middle has been vulnerable for a while. You saw him with that flash in hand, just keeping an eye towards it. So now going to call in the cavalry. Steps to be heard. And they wait towards the side. We're down to 13 seconds.
One
And yeah,
enemy
this
remaining.
is the problem. As much as, yes,
Spike
Vitality
down,
did get
B.
around back the back of Sender, they didn't address the bigger problems. And now you're seeing it once again come through to this.
The clock is not their friend, and it hasn't been this entire attack in half for them. He thinks, again, Big's win condition here is finding first bloods early, and Twiston has delivered on that front time and time again. 11 rounds on the board for Big now, and all the force available for Sender. A Guardian thrown in the mix here. Awful lot else to write home about. Again, same default once again. Actually, well,
You want to
version
play?
2 of the
Let's
default
play.
here. 3 outside 8, 2 outside B.
We have what? Guardian,
Yeah,
Sheriffs,
yeah.
bit of armor. It's not convincing. And the problem is yes, the scoreline does look close, but if you've been watching these rounds, this has been Vitality still struggling for an answer. But again, if Sender can get them another, fair enough, right? That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. It looks very unlikely with that beginning. Already going to be put down extremely low on HP, 18, as they instantly fill the gap towards short. And there's no quick springboard off the back of this.
Obnox, there's such a weird angle there as well. To almost punish Sender, or at least get him down to 18 HP, is going to force out a couple of shots from the ultimate as well. Actually back. Be rewarded with a kill. The other side, Brams will find one. It's falling apart for Big in the early rounds.
What's going on here? Yeah, Casper's in a world of trouble now, and he knows that he's hearing the utility being brought in. Sender just looked away. Twiston's going to punish him for it. Now Casper tries to swing out, get the best of them. And is this the round they're going to even up? Oh, of course. Of course.
Get everything you knew about Valorant,
Spike
because
planted.
there's no way the Vitality
Man.
even should have had a look in this round.
Bruh.
Yeah. Massive upgrade as well. Actually, if Kada can
I mean,
get out and find something, but he's come away with a Guardian at least. That's frustrating to watch as well, because I feel like everything Big have done right this half, just got thrown out the window in that round.
It's a tilter. If we're frustrated by it, because it's one of those where it shouldn't happen that many times over, right? I'm sure someone in chat like, but if you believe enough, you could win any fight. Yeah, all right. But still, it's 11-11 now, and you've had an ace work for Vitality. You've just had a thrifty conversion after that. So, you know, Cinder, I could imagine. Yeah,
not even
like
on
it's
the
a
back
weird
of Sender finding an opener
Exactly.
or anything. It's just weird.
Exactly. Like, yeah, maybe Obnox over pushing to check down by tree. I don't know. Again, some of it, yes, of course, puts the blame towards Big, but man, Vitality,
Well,
is this how you convert this map?
This is the thing.
I don't know, man. This is.
We come out of another round just being like, oh, well, Vitality just need to do that again. And it's not something they can lean back on. Right? It's almost like Big misstepping slightly. And so it still leans as a concern. Vitality.
Certainly does. We see the early exchange of utility over towards that B-side extremity. Whole lot of it. Big have to respect that fall away, but it looks like they're still considering regressing slightly. I want to see if Obnox does go any deeper. It looks like he's actually fallen off that this time. As Twiston going to try and hold on towards this middle play coming up. Neon crosses through a little deeper. It's not the case. They're actually creeping closer here, just on the other side of that smoke. Sender surely going to check for this.
He didn't see the barrel.
He actually didn't. Twiston.
Oh, he did
no, the
finally.
panic now. Yeah, now there's trouble. Twiston, can you keep your life? He actually seems to make it away. So Sender going to get through towards Market. If he wants the door open, he's going to have to break it himself here at this point. But still, eye on that spike. It's drifting towards the A side. Maybe because they've now been able to post up Sender towards Market, keep 3 players locked in towards B. This could be massive impact just from this player's positioning.
There's so many things, so many obstacles to overcome on A, though. Even though it's only 2 members. Now the confirmation from the spy camp.
30
Aslan and
seconds
Casper
left.
potentially go huge for Big here.
But look at them being able to slip through by tree. Hopefully Twiston can see that line of sight. He can actually.
want to find it?
Big boon for Big there. Now here's that
no.
punish. And it's gone to pieces. That was the main piece of that puzzle right there. Maybe that punish on catching maybe one of the 2 or 3 players towards CT, keeping them locked in towards B. As soon as that sight hit came through,
Point.
fell to pieces.
I feel like they had a really good opportunity to double peek spawn there. I don't know if Cadder's just swung ahead or if he was the one trying to dictate that play and calling, yeah, I'm pushing up tree. But I look at the minimap there and I think, yeah, they're going to be able to pinch spawn perfectly. And they would have got Obnox for free as well on the back of that. If they find that first kill, it's a 2v1 peek onto the second player. Again, just a slight slip up.
I feel like we've seen a couple of those slight slip-ups so far from both sides. I mean, we've seen, like I said, a little less from Big. They've addressed a couple of the problems. Vitality have been hard to categorize.
I think Big have looked a lot more refined on this map. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Vitality have, I guess, dragged a few rounds through, kicking and screaming. But like I said, it comes back to that age-old, you know, they find a success and repeat it. And I don't think Vitality have. They've just come out on top of it. It's almost like they've won a couple of rounds that Big have lost, right? It's more so.
Enemy.
But I feel like they've tried to find something here, right? So they pushed another player up towards mid. This time it's obviously not Sender, it's going to be
awareness.
Vac. But yeah, you're bang on,
Dude.
right?
Again, somebody from mid deals with that drone and God B still invests utility to clear out pizza. It's crazy.
Flashbang.
Still underhand flash. Quick
Beautiful.
pick up towards Sender. And instantly leaning back towards middle. I think they know what Vac's trying to do here. Is it was something they tried to look at
And-
last round, and that's been read really, literally. The book's been left on the table. But Brams finds a
30
little bit of success.
seconds
That could ferry a little bit of passage through. Godby brings him through the wall. Brams has gone down. Shadow and Cadder. What can you do with this now? They can at least get the spike towards the site. They can get a plant, but it's all about the post plant, and it's a 2v4.
Gonna down both players committed to site right now. So full HP. They have to find something on the way back in. The recon bolt will reveal it. Casper will find the last kill. Big will close out 13-11. God B in that last round, Lauren. That was crazy. That was actually crazy. Again, the awareness there and the timing on that
You
peak to
failed.
come back and reinforce that hold on B. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, again, this was a very tricky map because the scoreline makes it seem like it was an absolute cracker, one of those that you want to, watch again and again and again. But in actuality, it was quite labored, genuinely from Vitality. Yes, they got some brilliant moments there. Maybe this has addressed some of the issues we've seen in the past because they had some pretty poor results. Maybe that Chamber addition could be something to look at here, but it still felt like Big had the upper hand. Now, yes, that was Big's map choice, but again, now we're sitting at 2-0, Mike.
Yeah, which initially you look at how that started. And I love I don't want to say breath of fresh air, but a new perspective for Vitality. Didn't really see the application that I was looking for. I mean, hopefully Lothar's got a lot to talk about in terms of that map because there is an awful lot. In terms of a round by round basis, there's so many scenarios where you can look back and think about the composition and some of the things that Vitality could have achieved. It just wasn't there for me. But this comes out as a bigger positive for Big, really, than a negative for Vitality. Like I said, they still look just as refined on Ascent there, which is really comforting.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good assessment of that. Again, I was a little worried that Big could be maybe put out of sorts by seeing the Chamber come in, change maybe that mentality they had. It didn't really make too much of a difference long term, I felt, to the outcome. And I guess credit to Big for not getting too, lost in the sauce, right?
Yeah, and I think back to what we said before map 1 even started. This here to see the benefit of a best of 3 and then a best of 5, we sort of now get to see the depth of some of the improvement, which is why I say for Big, this is actually a real positive coming out of Ascent to kind of have this assessment. Again, we're coming on to Split, the next map now, which we did see previously. It was 15-13, another overtime from the best of 3 the other day. So again, I'm excited to see if there's any adaptation on the side of Big, something new they bring to the table today.
Well, if anything, the games are getting closer, the scoreline is getting closer, so maybe on map 3 we'll see a bit of a difference. However, we're going to go to a break, and when we're back, we'll be jumping into the next map.
Time slows down when it can get no worse. I can feel it running out on me. I don't want these to be my last words. All forgotten, 'cause that's all they'll be. Now there's only one thing I can do. Fight until the end like I promised to. Wishing there was something left to lose. This could be the day I die for you. What do you see before it's over? Blinding flashes getting closer. Wish that I had something left to lose. This could be the day I die for you. This could be the day I die for you. This could be the day I die for you. This could be the day. Everything I know, everything I hold tight. When to let it go, when to make them all right. When I'm in control, when I'm out of my mind. When I gotta live, when I gotta die, gotta die. Everything I know, everything I hold tight. When to let it go, when to make them all right. When I'm in control, when I'm out of my mind. When I gotta live, when I gotta die. This could be the day I die for you. Feeling like there's nothing I can do. This could be the end, it's mine to choose. It's taken me my lifetime just to prove. This could be the day I die for you. Don't let it be the day. What do you see?
hard-fought victory there for Big, but nevertheless, it was a victory, 2-0 up now for the German team. I'm back on the desk with Lothar and Kukuka. Now, Vitality, they didn't have the slow start they've been having the last few maps. We've seen them play in the qualifier, but in the end, Lothar, it just wasn't enough.
I feel like for Vitality, there's, they made that very brave change of adding Chamber to the lineup. But I feel like even though Sander knew how to play the character well for himself, I don't think it aligned with the rest of the members of the team. There was like a very good example in a retake when they were coming through short and Obnox had a free kill on them, right? But that was a round where I literally saw Sander push in a trap in front of him to check that angle, but we have seen Kara just peek before that was even happening, like, or literally mid moment that the trap was being placed, and he just peeked before he even was able to be traded. So then Obnox punishes that and gets a 3k. And there was a lot of situations where I feel like Vitality had no plan how to play around the chamber or how to play with him, and there was a lot of dry peeking into just any angle at the first 10 seconds on attack, and that's not how you want to play Ascent. Ascent is the most difficult map to play on attack because it's so defender skewed, and yet there are so many like choke points that you can't really go through without having an ability of reconnaissance first, right? So I feel like Vitality just kind of outplayed themselves.
Yeah, they had that start that they probably wanted, and we saw a lot of early aggression, but he went, as you said, beyond that, KO pushing it for the A lobby. But talking on Big side, I was kind of scared because we were used to more decisive executes, and we saw them making huge mistakes, not only on the attack, but also on the defense, not working around the timings that they know so well to work for their advantage. So, I expected a different kind of map. I know that they can be, shadowed a little bit by that incorporation of the chamber, but I have to agree with Lothar that I don't think it was decisive per se.
Well, it's 11-13, but there were two rounds.
It didn't feel like that.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that, but just Big allowed Vitality to come that close. Like the very big round for Vitality that went from 3 versus 5 to 3 versus 3 because Sander just got 2 kills on short. That was just because Big allowed that to happen. That's one of the things that not many teams are just trying to, like, I think, paint for themselves, because it's a little bit embarrassing in those rounds that you are giving your opponent the possibility of winning a round instead of just going back, being more passive and just letting your opponent play the space that they don't have in the first place. And that patience seems to go and come from Big from moments, from the one round to another. One, they play very passive, they play very well because they get that first blood. Like Twiston, I think he had like 6 first bloods on defense, and they could have worked from that, and they did many times. But the 2 rounds that they gave away was actually because that patience or that discipline was actually something that they didn't go for, right? And those are the things that they still need to work with. But I feel like Gobi for sure knows exactly when that was happening, and he for sure now during the break will tell his teammates to not try to be a little bit more patient on the defense when they have an advantage.
I think also we knew that this was going to come down to a mind fight into who is going to outsmart the other one. And I'm glad that you mentioned Twiston there, because we also need to talk a little bit about the Jets. I feel like Back had an amazing start. He was doing exactly what you want from a Jet, picking up that early operator, looking for those early picks. And that is what Twiston was also doing on the defense. I feel like the outcome from Vitality and the working from there was better on their side. Now, as you said, for Big, a little bit sloppy. Still, they take the map, but I'm not too convinced.
Yeah, I mean, that map was just... I think we can talk about that map for a long, long time. But we got to show the round. Lothar, I know you wanted to break down as well before we head to the next map.
This is going to be a very short breakdown, because this is the round, if I remember, 12. Post-plan situation where Aslan just stays in the market for a very long time as a lurker, and he was there with his Cypher next to him, where I want to showcase something that is so important for many players, but not many players really understand that. I'm talking about the viewers mostly. Like, why is that player so important when he doesn't do anything? Just pay attention to how Astra is going to be standing in market, so Aslan, and for like 10 seconds he's not going to move. And that moment when he doesn't move is something that puts pressure on the opponents who know about him, but they cannot do anything about it. And now when Aslan is just standing there in market, just trying to make sure that the opposing players are now aware of him, it allows the defender the attacker Go B on the backside to get a 1v1, because Shadow was aware of Aslan in market, so he couldn't push because he was afraid of that backstab. And so Aslan, by being passive, by not doing anything for 10 seconds, literally eliminates one player, even though he's still alive. Right? That player is not eliminated physically, but he's eliminated from the round because it allows Gob B to have a 1v1 fight instead.
Yeah, and what a game for God B as well. That tag is just like the icing on top of the cake in that situation. But we're going to throw to a break now. A match point, can you guys believe it? Already is coming up right after this. Well, we're going into map 3, and it is match point already for Big. I'm back with Lothar and Kukuka. Now, this is a map that they have played against each other once before. We've already seen some changes on the side of Vitality when it comes to agent compositions. Kukuka, are you expecting either teams to switch it up again?
I would love to see from Big. We were talking about it in the break. Obnox maybe swapping out from that Sage onto maybe something more aggressive, maybe something more supportive, off to a double smoker. What we know is that he can play almost anything. Maybe some KO? I don't think so, but I would love to see that adaptation coming in from them. From Vitality on the other side, we saw them again yesterday against Guild, and I feel like it felt like the same match against Big, because their attack was literally just not there. It was impossible for them to open those spaces. Well, you also have to think that it's probably, Guild's doing, but we'll see what Big does against that and how they adapt, because we can expect that agent swap, because we saw them against Alliance, and Obnox being the one doing it, they can go for it easily.
Yeah, and one that's very important is that Vitality here has a way more aggressive lineup because of the double duelist setup, right? They play Cadavra and Vag on duelist. At least they did play in the past. We'll see if that's going to happen right now, but it was the Raze Jet duo alongside Breach that allows you to be very explosive on the attack, which on split is very important, but so it is on Ascent. And it's more about how you play together and not just, oh, we have those 3 agents, so by default it happens. You need to still play exactly like you need in unison, with that utility being in good timings when it comes to like the way you play of each other. And that is pivotal when it comes to the success of the attack half on split. Now, when it comes to Big, they only played one time split on during this open qualifier, and that was, as you mentioned, Kakuka, with the Sage, and she slows down not only the opponents but also the own team because she's at an 8-old orb. So I wonder if they're gonna stick to that Sage.
Well, let's find out now, because we're going to head into agent select and see what both sides are picking. Of course, the last time they played this, it was an overtime 15-13 score for both teams, but for the side of Vitality, it doesn't seem like they're going to change much. Of course, like you mentioned, Lothar, Raze coming in there for Vac. But on the side of Big, it's going to be interesting to see if they stick with this hover
It
pick.
seems like they're going to play exactly the same lineup that they did before. So only Jet as the duelist, no Raze, which is a question mark for a lot of people. But Jet is just like, she's Jet. She's good on every single map, and she's so crucial. Yeah, I mean, she's a drone on attack here as well, because she can just dash into a side while side dashing and checking corners, which is pivotal to enable the rest of the team. So still very important duelist, and it's okay to not play the Raze, but I'd still prefer something else than that Sage. We'll see how Big will perform with that.
And also knowing all the combos that you have available with Astra and Breach and Raze and just jumping around like crazy on this map, but you decide to go for the Jet. I mean, go for something that you feel comfortable. I don't know how this is going to work for either of the teams, but obviously, as you mentioned, Lothar, Vitality running this double duelist composition and having that low impact on the attack needs to be changed. Now, is that adaptation going to come from Vitality or not? We'll see.
I would love to see Breach Astra Raze combos happening here, the same way we did see that from Fnatic on Fracture. It was beautiful. Hopefully we'll see something very similar here.
Well, it looks like Big are going to lock in some... Yeah, they're going to lock in very, very quickly. What is one thing you guys want to see from Vitality? How do they get back into this?
I would love to see... again, they need a strong start, and they need to completely wipe out everyone's expectations of what they can do on the attack. They know that they're on the upper hand of not only they played it against them and the attack was not strong, it's also the fact that they played it yesterday and Big has like a huge sample to get those stats from.
Lothar, I'm hoping that I'm going to get your thoughts after this and we're going to go to map 4. But for now, I have to hand this over to Pansy and Hypok to get us into split.
Things, because I like what Kakuka brought up there, and again, if you run a composition that looks highly favorable on the attacking side, with the duelists coming in with the ability to kind of set that in motion with the Breach, I want to see that actually come through for them. So again, I think that's kind of laid that out for me. Again, looking at Obnox on Sage, how do you feel about seeing the compositions here?
I mean, it's interesting. It's another map we can sort of characterize like Breeze, right? The last time it was 8-4, 8-4. So again, both teams seemingly fumbling their defensive halves. And I think just coming back to the composition, that Kakuka kind of nailed it for me. It's you want to see that value found where that should excel, right? That's a given. But to say that they struggled as much as they did on defense, that's got to be addressed, because I don't think we can really just cop out and say, yeah, we're looking for a strong start and Vitality to build on that, because we haven't seen that already today. I think that's fair to say. I mean, there was a point in Breeze where we said, yeah, they need to come back and get this pistol round, and it just never got going in the second half. So that's definitely not a win condition for Vitality here. It's going to be interesting. The Sage in particular, for me, I don't feel like it was the problem with Big. Previously, I don't feel like it was at least creating any glaring issues. Whether or not Vitality can now build around that and maybe address that, maybe identify that as a weakness and try to exploit it, I'm ready to be proved wrong.
And there is some very fresh tape on Vitality here. So I do want to see if Big are able to capitalize on that and make it something to read into. Already Casper in the right place to receive this hit coming in, and you can see set into motion instantly. Obnox has a little bit of a look, doesn't overstay his welcome, actually falls back a little off this.
Away though, wall will go up. Obnox puts himself into Rafter. Damage traded off just yet now, just a little poke on either side. keep your eyes on the minimap here because Sender.
Mid-piece,
I was gonna say he's making his way up to try and backstab into ropes, and Aslan will punish it.
Yeah, that's pretty imperative impact because you can see the Vitality were holding the ramp control, maybe off the back of hoping they'd get that little bit of impact coming in through middle, maybe finding that pick on towards Aslan, but not going to happen. And then they're pinned in here. Now that's a good breakthrough moment though. Casper going down now means at least they've got some passage through towards the site, but instantly Godby's going to try and put himself in position. That's one. The follow-up would be ideal. It is. He's going to get two here, so Vitality, depending on Brams, to get him out of a tricky spot. He's actually done well enough to at least put them into a 2v1, but the HP is low, and sadly, he's stuck in a corner. This is a tricky way to cross out. It's not going to happen. Twiston has him pinned, and you had Obnox not far away if needed. So again, a relatively close round. You saw Vitality's intentions, but didn't quite come to fruition.
And I think this is another example of where we see just rounds slowing down and it's suiting Big so much better, right? Vitality ultimately rely on Sender to find something in mid, Aslan there to punish, and at that point it comes down to trades. That was so back and forth, I guess, through the mid part of that round, but Ram's actually picking up, didn't even notice that in the kill feed at the time, but I guess, yeah, if anybody else on Vitality is able to close the distance and find some value, it's doable, but still definitely more comfortable for Big. Aslan curious in mid here. That's a lot of info. I think at least 4 noted on the back of that.
Yeah, and it looks like Vitality still just want to try and pressure this, keep pressing towards mid, take what control they can, and now I'm looking at Big to, do they overstep, do they overextend, do they get caught out by any of these pistols? There are sheriffs, so it's not without a little bit of danger. Already Aslan's going to find one. That's going to be Brams now removed. That was, again, the extremity being really identified quickly as potentially a stress point. And Vitality really tucked in towards Male Sender, going to receive a bit of a tag and just fed in towards Obnox, who can now slip away again. And this is the push and pull. Big on overstepping, and Vitality aren't quite able to really get much done yet.
It's contingencies for Big. Again, noted 3, potentially 4 on that peak in mid at the start of the round. What happens even on the heavier side of the stack from Big, they lean a little deeper towards site, then regress towards B main. Don't really give away, they don't risk anything in this round, Laurent. Pays off for them. Yeah, and Twiston will find another. And it does actually trade it back out, but that actually will find a kill, so that will open up B site, but still lots to deal with here. B will respond, Cadden out. Last man standing, 45 HP. Don't expect Big to throw away any more weapons here in this scenario.
Should be shut down. There it is. So yeah, a little bit found at the end. Looking like it was going to be flawless there, but actually Vitality able to find 2. So Aslan and Twiston going to have to suffer those losses, but it won't be too much. So 2-0 to Big to start with. Quite a nothing too wild in that second round. It didn't feel like there was too much danger, even with that much mid presence and the potential of the fountaining through from heaven. It didn't really, turn too many.
They weren't sweating.
No, they were fine. They were pretty comfortable. So now we see the buy coming out. This is where Vitality needs to make that impact. I want to see how that double duelist composition really looks here. Does it complement it well enough? Do we see that aggression coming out? Maybe a little bit more favorable towards him in that regard. But early on, Big going walkabouts here. This could be the one to keep your eyes on as Brams. To be very much put to notice. He's got support on the way, but it's slow support. It's slow progress, and that's a quick kill. The follow-up as well, Brams. Huge impact. And that's opened up the A site and a quick rotation to boot.
A little bit overzealous in terms of, I guess, trying to find a first blood here. Brams tucked in so deep. And not too much progress here. You see Vitality considering this rotation once again. Trade comes through on site and the spike's still tucked in towards A main. I think enough information for Vitality to hit this rotate here.
It's good info too. Sender can just post up if he wants to, just try and see what he can find here, lock them in towards the site essentially. Audio cues are plenty. Smoke now dissipates and he's going to be able to note at least 1, now 2. He sees the gun getting switched out. It shut down Sender. Posts home the final 2 kills. Perfect response back from Vitality here. That looked lovely, especially with that defensive side of the aggression coming out, but well met on the other side.
Not mistaken, I know Twiston was down on the shelf, so I guess financially not going to be too concerning. The only thing really that they only got 1 kill onto Vitality. And that readjustment from Brams was brilliant actually to find a second.
My spot. This goes here.
You got your eyes on here. Ultimates wise, yes, you got to tip that in favor of Vitality. Brams with his ultimate sender one away, so don't expect too much. Fairly vanilla round here. Casper spamming through. Not any tags here, but Sender already closing the distance. Obnox punished on the back of that. Well, Theft will confirm the setup as well, but actually the spike making his way through mid here, Lauren. Yeah, actually they will go through ropes, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. They were able to deny any vision away from Maelstrom, and now God B. He's in so much danger. Look around that corner. But Aslan by his side tries to make a leap for it. Trade comes out. God B gets one, gets two, but now look at the HP. 13 is all he's got to work with. Needs to try and... He's going for... What? God B, who is this man? Known to be the brain and not the brawn, but right now he's brought this back to a 2v2. Spike now going down. A little bit of time bought as well to allow Twiston to get towards maybe a more viable position. Both locked towards Pillar. Twiston gonna clear that close corner. No one's there. He's actually going to slip towards the site. This is big moves. Twiston buys his time, maybe waiting to allow God B to be the trade. Kada, massive information. Just that shoulder peek. And now Twiston, again, moving in. First peek found, and now it's viable. It's possible, but the HP difference is tremendous. Oh, and
no
God
way.
B, out of nowhere, leading by example.
That's such a crazy round. I was questioning the use of the Rolling Thunder, but it bought just enough time and resulted in a kill. I think he was already 13 HP when he swings on. That's
no
actually
right to do that,
insane from God B.
That's, any part of this I'm happy with. But again, this is the part where you're thinking, yeah, 13 HP, and he is feeling himself. And rightly so. Isolates back, gets the two on the side to be just pretty much, you know, focused on the spike plant, buying time for rotation. That's pure German efficiency at work.
That should work.
Yeah, it was just Vitality almost put back on nothing after this purchase. And ultimates wise, Neural Theft invested, yes, actually tried to close the distance ramp initially, but no follow-up. And things will slow down, at least in the overround. The wall dealt with pretty quickly as well, so Vitality want to make use of time here. And they achieve nothing on the way in, and it's big, able to just slow them down with utility. Aslan's post. Oh my god, Sen didn't even spot him there. Oh, he did there, that was the dash.
This is a much different pace to this round. Early exchanges, the wall being put up, that mid, a bit of presence by Aslan, constantly buying time. Sender has slipped the net. And as is Brams, the timing's unreal here. Aslan might be a little flustered by this one. Two of them very close by. And that's going to be at least a pixel now noted. Has to... Well, he was considering falling away, but tries to reaggress. That could have been everything, but Brams holds it down, gets the pick. And now you can see where the spike was intending to go.
Left.
So at this point, do they dare hit that rotation into the unknown, or do they try and steal pressure towards that A site?
Yeah, I was going to say, the weapons could be a concern here. Casper down on a Spectre. We'll get punished at distance there. Vac. Play it again, just to still consider one player tucked into backside. Rams actually will hear Twiston fall away here, but got to be unnoticed just yet, but it doesn't matter. Rams will find it, 46 HP. Knows exactly where Twiston repositioned to. And actually, the slower pace of this round suiting Vitality here. Alright, the punish here for a flawless.
Why destroy?
Twiston dancing with death here. Already closing the distance, so too much for him to deal with. Kada will find it.
No charges left.
Again, Casper kind of spamming with that Spectre, I guess it's almost trying to bait Vitality in, but I think straight away they identify that lack of a rifle posted in screens. Straight away they're able to punish it. It really, at that point, was a formality in terms of conclusion.
Yeah. Good to see Vac just, you know, clinically clearing towards the back of the side as well. I get a little nervous when I'm seeing Obnox just not getting too much pressure just yet. I'm like, oh lord. That could have been a danger, but no, well kept in check by Vac. And for Vitality, this could be a nice little reminder. The rounds they've won have been, I guess, proof of concept, right? They've been trying to get that mid-split right, get that pressure down. Finally starting to get picks on towards Aslan, trying to get, you know, that pressure down towards ropes. It's been actually finally working out for them, and the site hit looks good off the back. And again, when we criticize Vitality for only not only, but majority conversion off of maybe an individual pop-off, right, or a player having a big impact round, I do the same, right? I want to see, once we get into the full buy rounds, once the money gets a little bit more stable, I don't want to see it just off the back of one player. I want to see that complete look, right? That complete approach coming out. Because, again, Godby popping off, having a massive impact round is obviously beautiful to watch. Can you repeat it every time? Probably not. So I want to see that back and forth adaptation here. For now, this isn't the round to be looking at anyway. We've got Sheriff's in a frenzy, and obviously a full purchase coming out for Vitality. So for Vitality...
It's looking like they want to get aggressive with the Bladestorm here, though, Lauren. Look.
Yeah.
Towards A.
Well, let's see who's going to be on the other side of that. So already a little bit more of a passive approach. Just going to play to get the orb. Going to be retrieved to big. You actually going to back away from this.
It's weird why Aslan's even there if the plan is to wall and get the orb, I guess. Just to make absolutely sure in case anybody swings over or cracks through that. You hear the Bladestorm get popped in the distance.
Well, there's the danger man removed. That's Aslan gone. Oh, wants to get the timing right, but he's been very much seen. And there's the swing. Bram's lovely work. Keeping it clean here. All these little corners, all these little angles that Big wants to try and utilize are just being checked on. Again, it looks like they want to finish towards that A site. Knocks outdoes Sender with a rifle. Feels pretty bad. But the timing now, can he even get the rifle in hand? No. So Cat a quick punish on that. Going to police the weapon at least for now. Keep that away from enemy hands. And the site should be theirs for the taking.
Tristan and Godby still drifting through mid here.
30 seconds.
Try and make their way through sewers, but
Spike planted.
don't expect anybody to give away weapons on the side of Vitality. Bram's actually playing back behind the entrance. Should find both of these. Doesn't actually spot him on the first on the way up. Actually looks away, twisting. Might find this. It's not pretty, but he finds it. Get the rifle. No, Shadow in position to clean things up, and Vitality will tie things up 3-3 here. Again, I'm not sure if that was the plan, but it's almost like Aslan didn't need to be there on that A piece. The fault line comes through. You can't imagine anybody's going to over-aggress versus the wall and the fault line. But again, whether or not, you know, in any other reality, Aslan finds a kill elsewhere on the map with the Bladestorm.
This point, though.
Looking at the purchase after that is odd, to say the least. Godby actually going to drop a weapon out for Aslan and play a classic. Or Sheriff now.
Aggression again. They're consistently trying to get this kind of deeper A push coming out. Now, again, they've not overcommitted this time because there's a lot of attention being drawn towards that B side early utility, a lot of spam being shown, but again, the spike isn't committed. It's kind of being ferried away, being kept safely under guard. Might try and look back towards this A site, potentially. Again, this looks like Vitality have a bit of a read that they like to run. I wonder if Aslan's going to be able to adjust accordingly this time, because they've been losing on several fronts, right? That mid push-up, they've been finally winning out for Vitality, and Aslan, desperate for it, maybe a little too much. Hungry to try and punish, but sticking around again.
Little setup there with the flash. As you try and pull a rotation towards B, and I think with Bram's in position, might do just that, but Sender on the other side of things will find Aslan. Should open up A site a little bit for them.
You can see the issue becoming, as much as yes, Godby did donate that weapon early, he was only down to a Sheriff. Going to quickly get the rifle back up. Now needs to weather the storm, pinned towards the backside of Pillar. But he is buying time and buying time well. Can at least hinder the hit for now. 30 seconds, supports on the way. Obnox, no man's land. It's just the rifle in his hand, and he gets swung on by Shadow. 20 seconds now. Can Godby do it again? Surely not. Not again. Godby, what? 3 huge kills. Godby right now is keeping this team together. And Casper, sadly, does only have the shotgun to play with, so the judge isn't really one to be looking at. And maybe not even much of an upgrade here. Tricky to play back in. No way to facilitate the cross. It's really hoping to catch one and maybe spiral off the back. I think he knows this is not really happening.
I think as well, Vac almost has that gel free card with the showstopper as well. So Brams can go explore, and you can see that up towards screens now. Casper and at range, whether or not he's even going to be able to find one of these kills. Looks like Brams might even swing on him, and he does just that. The timing working out perfectly. A weird purchase back in that round for Big. I got to come back to that once again.
Okay.
res available. Rolling Thunder obviously traded out just to slow down that hit, but on the back of that, it doesn't really buy any time for Big. It doesn't give them any sort of safety. Or, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter when God B's going to pull out and do this, right? It doesn't matter what they achieve on the back of that.
But what this really is, though, 3 in the row now for Vitality, and they've again, it's not overly complicated. They are doing a little bit more work now towards that B site, trying to keep, from maybe a over-rotation coming out from Big. But Big haven't really found the answer yet to that middle piece or this push-up that they've been consistently doing. That's different, though. Aslan, Op, coming out, finding Sender, and now going to fall away. So for once, they've won that fight on the extremity cleanly, and now with Obnox playing towards middle, maybe you can buy a bit more time for them here.
And the interesting thing is, what Vitality have tried to do a number of times now is find a kill elsewhere and drift back towards A, right? So the fact that Sender falls so early in this round means that Big they can almost over-rotate in this scenario. Comfortably. There's no real risk here. Because I think Vitality are forced to now explore towards B Heaven, which Aslan's going to be tucked up. Misses the shot on Brams, though. Like I said, I feel like Big have a decent read up until the point I now see Aslan rotating.
This worries me if they confirm it as well. Let's say Bram sells a real nice look here. It looks like a switch out. I'm waiting to see if Bob does decide to hit that full rotation. It looks like he's going to try and fill the void. So, okay, so it wasn't too much of a problem. Let's see if they can control it now. Back en route, going to at least step towards the side, but there's all that utility. It's just a mountain's worth in his way. You're going to have to post that eventually, and there's the push through on the smoke. Casper appears out of nowhere, but his Shadow unrelenting. He's not going to fall away from this, and Brams still lurking towards middle. Finds the impact eventually after lingering towards vent, towards those ropes, as Brams and Shadow still looking to do some work here. Godby high flash goes in, does nothing to dissuade this.
Really comfortable setup here. Actually, one playing in front of the wall. Rams just looking for something. Able to tuck away just as that smoke drops, though. Now, pressure's on. And Godby have to make something happen here. Bolt line available, so maybe just waiting for that here. You're going to stun default.
Yep. And again, doesn't get anything out of it. Time beginning to dwindle. He's got to make his move. Brams just going to be sitting pretty, playing the time to perfection. Aslan's found Shadow, and Godby actually gets Brams. Incredibly surprising that that kind of nice little crossfire didn't really work out. Quite close to the defuse, but it does go across the line for Big. So patience paying dividends for Big there in the end, and actually playing right to the end of that time limit.
Which is weird. I think at the point the wall drops and there's a smoke on default, yes, it's a 2v2, but Vitality need to isolate one of those players. They can't just let them walk up like that. Fire in the hole! Actually, just as well, I love the catch on this angle. There's so much for Vac to deal with on the way in with the showstopper here. The fault line comes through, the gravity well's perfect as well. Really good counter. Again, great read from Big to be in position with that fault line to further slow things down.
What? Let's go through. Where
No
did that
way.
shot just go? Was that between the
Through
legs?
his legs. 100% it went through his legs.
Absolutely nutmegged. And not in the right way. So now, Obnox on the pure Ferrari peak. Fair enough. And it's a 4v4. This is a weird round to start with already. Casper's going to try and fill the gap. Going to post himself up with that judge. Let's see if he's good for one.
Uh-oh.
He's got support. Yeah, that's good for one, but it's Obnox. Oh dear, it's getting messy. This is a weird round. It's a 1v1.
That's a couple of times now. Obnox has just seemed not like Obnox from map 1 and 2.
Yes.
Whether or not we see that as a...
Planted.
I mean, I said the Sage wasn't the problem previously, but there's been a couple of times now where he's not looked himself, that's for sure.
Yeah, maybe just a little less comfort. One out of place, and Shadow's been pretty solid here, keep in mind. And actually, yeah, just gives him the fade away. Godby not going to get a chance at this time. Shadow happy to hold. Gets one across the line for Vitality. And again, I want to see that first op shot. That was ridiculous. It looked so spot on to me.
Yes,
Thank you. Let's see. Oh.
Well, I think I come away with that with more questions than answers.
Yeah. Ooh. That looked real on. I mean, it probably was between the legs, I guess, but damn. And back to a little bit of a previous look here, knowing that the weaponry will be lighter for Big. Early lean towards A will go going in instantly and being broken instantly, but Obnox seems to always get one away from this, but it looks like he's already going to be forced back quite early on.
Obviously, we'll stick a couple more bodies behind this A main setup this round. Oh, that's that. Way more than he was bargaining for behind that.
What's going on?
So much intensity.
What's going on?
He's going to find one with the aftershock. How did Big just come out on top of that engagement?
I don't know, and Kada just holds down mouse one as the flash comes through, sees another towards round, but they're starting to sweat over here towards A. They do have that mid lurk coming in, but that's been read as well. That's been considered. Twiston is already looking this way. I don't know if he's going to catch it, but timing's everything. Vac going to be trying to get the timing right, and he does. Disastrous for Twiston, as now everything going to start looking a little bit weaker on the push up. Vac doesn't check below, but it's going to be already Kada going to clear it. Sight's looking well under control, and honestly, credit to Vitality, because that looked so dicey for so much.
Oh. Spike planted.
Oh.
Playing with their food, right? If Casper gets a kill, I'm going to be pretty upset about it, to be honest, but it's like Kada thinks better of it. Yeah, well, good luck now. Wow, nearly still has one back down to 34 HP, but we'll close that round out. Vitality find their 6th. They now very delicate in terms of the economy. Did see a weird purchase previously to try and ride out a full purchase in the round that followed here, but it'll be the same again. Aslan actually last cannon with that operator. Kada does have the blade storm. Will Vac one away from the showstopper once again. The other side of things,
waiting with bated breath after that previous round. Flash in for info for Casper, finds nothing on the other side, but again, Vitality sitting relatively deep. Readdressing middle here after leaning towards that B main for a second. Brams has been such a thorn in their side consistently, but I wonder if he's going to get away with it again. Casper cleared this earlier, but obviously been a moment or two where he hasn't had vision, so there's always a chance at it. Aslan. This is where things get horrible for him. He knows he's in so much danger. Wait, Aslan got that?
you got a kill onto Kada.
He got a kill onto Kada. When? When and how? And now Casper tucks in on the site, finds Vac as he leaps across. Sender and Shadow now going to invest the ult into this, try and get any sort of information they can because they now know they're in danger. It's a 2v3 on the site, 2 towards CT. Holt comes out on the other side, and Obnox is there, catching Sender towards Heaven. And it's, the start of some of these rounds has been wild.
Last round before the switch.
Seemingly in rounds that you'd almost say characteristically Vitality should come out on top of, but
Sure.
Big still keeping them honest. And I'm talking about these rounds that are particularly scrappy. Bram still gets a kill there on B, even though he's hard cleared with utility. Round 12. Last round of this half, and Blade Storm available, both sides. That res still available. We're going to see them try and play around that. Again, no real setup in the early round, at least, and with Obnox playing towards A site. There's really any intention to make use of that res. First blood attempt or anything like that.
And Sender getting a good start into this round, building up towards ramp. Can at least get himself postured up here, but this time you're going to have 3 players building towards middle. I've seen a couple of rounds of this look now, and it's been actually a bit of a problem for Big to try and hold up towards Heaven.
Backstab.
Mail room, and you're right, Twiston just getting around the back lines. The call's been made. Now Obnox has to be aware there's that pinch. Oh, the timing!
Oh my god.
He falls down and Kada just dismembers him on the way. And now 4v4. They've seen a fair amount of the play, but this has been, once again, one of those rounds that they probably won't want to remember. Casper with a different hold this time, a little bit deeper towards the edge of rafters. Swing on one, beautiful adjustment. It's actually Aslan to claim it towards Brams, and he's pretty safe here for now. No one hitting that lurk on him, two of them there. They can play the time here, allow support to come over, but Casper wants it himself. This could tie it all up. Vac going to be put in a very tough spot. 6-6 now between the two.
Just again, the willingness to address Sender kind of being left on an island outside A main. Twiston, for the first time this half, I think, just walking all the way behind him. At that point, they know that there's no weight behind this. They know that ultimately giving up mid, the Vitality have made use of that space. But again, Obnox, man, like he's having a stinker this map, that's for sure. After having an insane map 1 and 2, whether or not it is a comfort thing and slight change onto Sage here, but I'm definitely eating my words from before this map started. It's literally night and day in this area. If you think some of these rounds that Obnox is able to have the same impact he did previously, this is heavily in favor of Big.
Yeah. Let's see what this attack looks like. Creep up middle. One jump shoulder peek over towards 8. You can see the set piece intended over towards that B site off the back of potentially contact or an audio cue. But already, Big slipping up middle is just going to completely circumnavigate around it. And
very slow approach, actually.
They should dismantle that hold now, considering they know that there's at least some presence towards Heaven. Casper now needs to keep control towards B main. He can't do it. Send it out does him, so that opens up the map. This is, if anything, should force Big's hand, because now they're in a bit of a problem.
Look at the timing, though. Shadow drifts away as they push through B main.
I don't think it's necessarily... I guess they're still paranoid about them slipping through towards, deep CT, but you're going to be in a retake scenario now, right? You can't do anything about that. You might as well try and play it as a collective, and Big having to retake main as well. This is so topsy-turvy. Now, 25 seconds. Spike going to go down. Obnox gets instantly challenged. He thought that wall was going to keep him safe. Not the case at all. Two big picks from Vitality in such tricky positions to clear. Nade comes in as well. Aslan could be in danger, and he is. And that's going to be just pretty much sewn up. Vitality instantly taking back space that just wasn't meant to be theirs and just wrapping back towards the site. I love that from them.
Again, the concern for me being that actually there was a window of opportunity for Big to close down that kill on Shadow, which would have made it very difficult. At that point, if they get control of spawn, I mean, ultimately there they can plant for deep within, maybe towards backside and then re-wrap towards Heaven up on the stairs, but they were so slow. And like you said, Obnox, almost a little slip up from him once again, thinking he's completely safe from that wall blocking off spawn. Vitality play that perfectly. Another round, I think we talked about this on Ascent, right? It's like you look at the minimap and wonder who the hell is actually attacking in that round.
Mate, you wouldn't have been able to work it out. You turn the colours off, you'd have no idea. Now, again, hard to walk away with maybe full fact information. It was kind of just a really nice mid-round call, I feel, from Vitality to late round. That was a beautiful adaptation. Now into this, though, once again, putting out the feelers, Big, just trying to work up, see if they can keep getting this mid-presence, something that they can maybe build into the rifle rounds. However, for Vitality, it's farming time. That gonna get to control that middle push-up. Elrum's his. And Casper, Twiston, and God B not finding any avenues for now to get into this game.
That was a swing and a miss to just try and find something here. Kata actually going to drift into mid. Vac there to back him up.
Spike down mid.
Casper, the last man standing. He can get the consolation. No, he won't. Flawless round victory for Vitality. We'll hold on to all 5 Spectres here. And a big advantage in terms of this first ultimate cycle. A defensive half.
This is a confidence builder for Vac as well. See him find a little bit of form throughout this game, throughout this map especially. And necessary one for Vitality. Keep in mind, Big convert this map, that is, not this round. That's it. They're through. They've qualified. All this run up, all that build up from Vitality would have been for nothing. That would be a devastating blow. So we go back in and already Aslan,
Beautiful.
quick as lightning, but supplemented and supported by the utility set into place for him. That was all teed up
So
for that
precise.
moment.
The fault line and the gravity well there. Perfect. The flash through. Shadow has to tuck himself inside this smoke here. Nope. Real progress towards sight just yet. Big want to slow things down now with a man advantage, but Vac and Kada go drifting elsewhere, and they'll find Casper again deep in that lurk.
Yeah, and this is going to prove problems for Big now. They actually need to really rework towards the side bit. Deeper look towards CT. You can see Shadow now has to respect that, even just a touch, pull the way towards Pillar. Doesn't want to die towards CT. That would open up way too many opportunities. And Big, once again, this is very topsy-turvy. Look at the way this round's playing out. You've got 2 players on the side for Vitality. Shadow being one playing the timing well, hears the audio cue and looks to swing on it. Finds nothing. Bit of information, sure, but no frag off the back. And look at the utility just flooded the site again. Got B and Twist and finding critical kills when it matters. And Big somehow stabilized there because it started to get so dicey with the positioning coming out and that pit coming up through from sewer.
And the problem being Vac and Kada have so much to worry about in terms of pushing back through ropes there that ultimately it makes it so difficult for Shadow and Sender to just kind of hold on, right? Their time's not on their side in that scenario, but really well played on Big, on Big's behalf actually. A timeout called, and it is Big, yep. Looking very comfortable. I would say it was a nice little set piece. Like I said, you got to really, really credit the use of utility there, the fault line and gravity. There was no escape whatsoever.
No. And I like to see those little, like, they're not necessarily like full-on strats, I want to say, but just those nice little set pieces, those little kind of like, okay, let's focus on this area, let's take this space, let's kind of work towards that. And again, I'm pretty sure in the first couple of rounds, the first 2 rounds, they didn't even look towards A. So for Big, that was just something they've kept in mind that they wanted to try and work down and set someone up towards ramp like that without that full fact information that someone's completely there. It's just nice to see working out like that. Now, Vitality though, this is where the problems could start, right? This is where you look at the money. You have to keep that in mind a little bit here and see, okay, they need to keep this a good conversion. They don't want to get kind of flustered in this scenario because this is where things can get a little scary and the scoreline gets close and suddenly you're in, in a bit of a problem because not just in this map scoreline, but the overall series scoreline. You're already 2-0 down. So once that gap gets closed, you start feeling a bit panicked about it. But for now, we go back in. We look to see what's in front of us. A 3-play down middle. Vitality not looking phased at all by the scoreline. Instantly pushing down middle, and obviously the traditional response from Big or any team would be to try and take space back quickly. However, as inviting as it may seem, you don't have the full information on what's behind that one smoke in front of you.
Actually, straight away, look at this. Decide not to dig any further towards mid, but again, they walk it as 3 now for the second time this round. Big still huddled together outside B main, the only exception being Twiston. Hasn't really been given any information on the other side of things either, so Big almost have to readdress this round now as new with 50 seconds remaining. Besides wide open, Vitality are preemptively rotating away from this.
Well, I think one, because they didn't hear an instant hit towards B as a response, and there hasn't been any big pressure back towards middle. I think once if they get contact on Twiston, they'll probably know what's up. Oh no, the timing could... the damage done from Twiston is already perfect. He can fall away from this and he's just now a problem. He's a thorn in their side. Spike is now down. They have to try and clear sewer. They're going to speed up to try and get away from him. Just ignore that factor completely. He can now go lurking somewhere else because Aslan's already pushed down towards CT. They have presence across the map here. This is scary times. And again, that gap closer is going to be coming in. Twiston is on the way. He's pushing through CT. He's around behind them. This is going to be a moment away, and now this is where everything's going to become so scary. And there's the trade out. Already, we're down to just 3 remaining. Look at the HP. Bram's 18, Cadaver 10, Vac 6 HP, and there's Twister makes his appearance again. And this is all falling to pieces. Vitality. They looked like they had such intention, such focus in mind, a plan to pull through from that mid play, but it all fell to pieces with Big just sitting back and being patient, playing their own game, not falling into the trap.
Really, really well considered round from Big. I'm desperate to try and find this, but we'll be able to hold on to that rifle. Big tie things up. Again, just a little bit of a mystery. I think you're right. There is an argument to be made that after they don't hear any presence shown and nothing confirmed towards B, they're happy with posting Kada and Vac towards bottom mid, but Twisted, like you said as well, no kills, but the damage absolutely crucial in that scenario. And the timing of it as well, that's just as big a walking onto B site, right? So it's almost confirmation. Oh, well, get clapped.
What did you say?
Get clapped. I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. You're absolutely bang on. Good work.
Look how deep they're sitting for that, though, as well. Like,
Don't try and pull it back in after get clapped. It's beautiful. I'm proud of you. At this point, you're right. They were sitting incredibly deep, so seemingly aware of it. But there's still a bit of a threat here, I guess. If Brams was able to get another, I'd be kind of in on this. But Shadow being unchecked might be good for one. Ooh, not good for
yeah,
one.
not so much.
Not so much. Can he set up Sender, though? There's a second layer to this? No. Okay, the hopium is clouding my vision right now.
It is good for one.
There you go, good for one.
I want mine.
But for now, Big now step into the lead. And I'm worried about Vitality's money and the timing of this, right? You're going to be put at a numbers disadvantage, which sucks anyway.
Well,
and now you're 2 maps in the hole. I want to see how much money they have to play with going forward.
It's
interesting. Okay this round.
I was going to say, interesting to note on the previous, whether or not Big was actually trying to counter the showstopper play through B main. That might be why they were so deep in that setup.
True.
But here, I was going to say maybe the next round would look comfortable if Vitality lose it because they would have the Blade Storm, but it looks like Kada's going to invest it here. Yeah, popped immediately. Again, Rolling Thunder, Showstopper, Neural Theft available. Bram's the only one missing piece from the puzzle, really. Definitely feel like Big are in the driving seat, though. Last couple of rounds have definitely suited them better.
Here.
I feel like, again, Vitality are on the verge of things going right. A little bit of timing towards middle here and there. Sender got to back away from this. Twisted. Twisted just going. It's like, well then, I'm off. Just going to dip away from this for a second, but you're going to be in such a weird position. Obnox tries to get around. But what is this round? It feels so weird because look at Twiston's positioning. They have no idea he could be here, even though he was the player that got contact on. Surprise! Kada goes down, and now this is where you start sweating bullets because it was never meant to be this way. I'm just going to try and safely cross through towards site utilities there. And passage is made. Spike to be planted, and it is a 3v3.
Yeah, Vac does have that showstopper on the way back in. Those satchels, though. You have to run this one down.
Oh.
Slowed down by the fault line once again from God B. Will he post it? Just hope for the best. He does indeed. He finds a kill. He finds a second as well.
Come on, Vac. Give it everything you got, but now it's down to Casper. Not going to get it. Bram's by his side, but it was Vac to instigate that retake, and it looked to perfection. Clearing that little cubby, the little corner, instantly ready for the swing from Pillar, and it's all his. Vitality, the pressure not overly making them get a little nervous yet. They'll be fine. 9-9. Close game between these two, but just scoreboard-wise, well, it feels like Vitality across the board doing quite nicely. Most sitting around that kind of like 15 mark, and most people providing Big, a little top-heavy, but again, close as you like on the board here. 9-9, you couldn't get any closer, and the money does manage to sit with Vitality. They still have plenty to work with going forward. Purchase coming out for Big.
You say that actually
I say that, like
behind this, behind this purchase,
Utility.
there's a couple of the cracks starting to show. To be honest,
Sender's worrying me a little bit. I'm worried if he's going to be the one going to be suffering down the line if his money really begins to dwindle and utility becomes a problem after this.
That's
now
why
it should be.
I was going to say that's why it's always interesting to talk about when these rounds trade back and forth. It's kind of more worrying for Vitality because if they lose this round, then they're back down on nothing. And then you think about the Blade Storm and the Showstopper being invested in the purchase. It makes it really, really concerning, Lauren. And the Rolling Thunder as well. Sorry, Shadow in that previous
Shadow's
round.
one, yeah. It's pulling my attention, but it could all be for nothing, right? This could all be fine. See what Kada can do. Oh, they lined up a little. There's just a little bit of a line up there.
There's a moment.
A little bit of a line up there. Aslan does win that fight, so Casper getting ready for the push out for the trade. Actually loses the fight, but he read the play correctly, but Brams outdoes him, and Brams has been pretty instrumental in getting a couple of these integral picks coming back in. As Vac waits, actually sticks around and does double down. So finds 2 out of this one, and we are down to just 2. Obnox and Aslan, and where are they? Both dedicated to working their way down. One drops towards Hell.
Don't swing left.
Oh dear, Brams the timing. Could not be better. It's all his. Brams again. some critical kills from this man, and in the last two are great, but even just a couple we've seen leading up to this point, he has been such a leveraging factor, and actually the top fragger, to be honest. So again, the man has been doing very well for himself. Good to see him find a little bit more form in this one, but again, for Big, these rounds are very scrappy now. I almost want a timeout to recompose, find that composure again if you're Big. I think Vitality would do better in these instances, which we've been, I think, seeing. I'd say for Big, if they start running a little dry here towards the end, I'd want to see a timeout.
Yeah, nothing else really available for Big behind this round. And this will be Vitality on 11, so got to look for Aslan to find something with the Blade Storm. And Rez is available, but we didn't see it in the first half. We'll see it in the second here. Had it posted pretty deep as well, so Vitality can lean away from B if they choose to. Progress Twiston's made, though. He's already up ramp. Going to clear out ropes as well. This might even be backstab onto B Heaven here. A little myth from Kada.
Lucky to be alive, honestly, at this point. And Kada's still finding value. Great reposition, a little bit deeper towards CT, but leaning towards site. Twiston's position, as deep as he got, it's still being considered by Brams, who's been pretty much good on this. The walkthrough, though, Farrell gives away the game, and now the crunch comes in. But Kada's doing great. Still standing, takes down Obnox 3 in play for Big. Much more can you do, Vac? Still alive.
Not sure how.
I tell you.
Not sure how.
No, don't want to. Maybe not a replay on that one. Kada, though, is, again, still standing as well.
I think
almost got a knife in the back. Almost gets caught up. Like, so many of these moments. It's so close, but yeah, I don't know how Vac was alive.
I was going to say, I can almost hear Lothar screaming from the other TeamSpeak channel about that Aftershock not lining up with the back of default here.
Oh.
Yeah, that's tough. But again, they have to assume that this is clear, right?
You play to the utility, right?
Yeah.
Like, if someone's... Damn. Would you say you're a juicer, Mike?
I'll be very, very conscious of context. And say yes, absolutely.
That's what I like to hear, my juicer. Right. Now 9 to 11. These rounds just feel so scrappy. I just don't think that plays to Big at all. Vitality are thriving in this mayhem, and you're seeing it time and time again. A couple of missed pieces of utility, a couple of moments here and there, but this time Twiston has broken in. Taking down Cat is a big first step, but it's going to pull all these rotations. Do they hit the brakes? Do they try and re-explore? Casper has a chance to just look towards B and go, there's nobody. Now, there is someone trying to do this back to them, right, through sewers. They can now clear this. It's a race back towards B. What impact can Casper have down towards CT? Can he at least catch the player? Does he want to go for that, or is that too risky? There's the ult. What? Oh, this game, my boy. What is going on?
Did that 142, Aslan?
Taking that back. Spike planted.
There's no way. Play the lottery. Seriously. That's actually insane.
Get a ticket. Oh, dear.
Support.riotgames.com.
You know it's been an absolute baffler when even Zilv's messaged me. The man's observing the round and even he's confused. That's why we're on Bram's POV now. Also, shout out to the observers, Zilv. You gotta love your observers. 10 rounds gonna be on the board, Mike. How you feeling?
Not good. I'm gonna be honest.
Not good.
Not good at all. I just want to come back to that. There's so many rounds where you can see Big making great use of the control, and obviously rounds slowing down, but I think you said it perfectly. Some of these rounds that become more chaotic, that actually was one that somehow Big are able to escape death from the showstopper. Please tell me this is the replay. Thank God. Oh, yeah, it's way off. Yeah,
It's
way off.
just way
There's barely
off.
any paint on him at all. Actually.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Right.
I mean, it just happens, right? But I think a lot of that credit in my mind goes to that first pick. I think it was Twiston who got it, and Vitality probably a little tilted off the back of that, so fair enough. Yeah, I think Twiston pushed up, got the pick, and then you saw instantly Casper start exploring though. So again, I want to kind of give credit a little bit to those two players to instantly try and find that space. Casper pushing in, doesn't overcommit towards CT. I was kind of expecting him to go, a little bit deeper towards CT and try and explore that, hold that, but he made maybe the right choice. Again, he doesn't know what we know, right? So
if he has any other gun other than the Bulldog, right? That thing just doesn't shoot straight. Sure. Like it's as simple as that.
Don't worry, the Ares is coming in soon. Don't worry about it.
Thank God. I can't wait for next stage. That's gonna be. Sorry, I thought I muted my mic there. Apologies.
It's okay. It happens.
But the purchase here is going to be interesting. It comes back to that ultimate investment once again.
Right.
Showstopper thrown in the mix. I think Sender actually has to concede down to light armor and potentially sacrifice some utility. Feels like I'm only seeing one trapwire invested here, so to get Vac a weapon, it's costing Vitality a lot.
Can you get out of there? Yeah, he's alive. It's a bad miss, but he's still alive. Oh, Brams isn't though. Just stuck in it. I feel like Mike's about to have a meltdown.
I feel like Big feel like they're on map 5. They're just like, guys, let's just try push mid.
Just go mid.
Just try it, see what happens. Obnox has still got his res a week later. It's turned so... all the positives from map 1 and 2.
I know.
Really highlighted here in Split. Oh, he's got his res out here before we push.
Alright, just slow walk it, it'll be fine. Right, here we go. Flash goes in, site take commences. Aslan going to be at the tip of this. Shadows has been generally good for 1, and he might be good for more. The smoke does actually only get 1 from this for now, but his support's there. Katter and Vac not too far off, leaving Casper and Godby to try and face the music now. What can they do with the position they have? I mean, do they get a clean fight on this? Yes, that's 1! Casper! Huge play! Finding Sender up in towards heaven, and now Katter, he knows it. He's stuck. He's in such a dire predicament, and Casper's watching this. He sees a pixel out of place. What a round from the man, Casper.
And again, at that point, you're looking at it and you're like, how have Vitality found 2 kills in this scenario with that many bodies behind that hit and actually such good coverage? Shadow, you got to argue, yeah, he's good for 1. That's a trade. But the fact that they come through and find the second there unpunished, and then beyond that, the fact that Casper swings this back in Big's favor. It's getting fruity. Vitality now down on tatters. In terms of the money, I'm really worried about what it's going to look like. Yeah, it's...
Oh, it's not good.
It's no bueno. No bueno.
Yeah, absolute just pocket
Dios mío.
You've been practicing your other languages? You going off to some other league? Is this it? Fair enough. That's how I found out.
No comment.
Yeah,
Kakuka's going to pull me up on that.
Yeah, she is. I really hope she does. Pronunciation. Just everything. Everything.
Out twisting round 2.
Yeah, I mean, at this
side's
point,
wide open. Yep.
They found the rifle instantly. It pushed out. They were ready for it. We saw that in the past. I mean, Big, if you're ever going to question Big on like a default, they can be fine. If you're ever going to worry about their patience, they will be there till the last 15 seconds. They are not in a hurry. Twiston's in CT.
3 out of 5.
So this round is sewn the hell up. Vac, oh, you're really hopeful, aren't you? Oh, maybe 1 will just walk heaven. No. All right, off we go. Judge to hand. Big 5 standing. All goes in.
Wall. Yeah, good.
Oh, that's not bad. That's about all you're going to get, and that's how Big get to 12. It's going to be 1 more required. And oh, the desk. Oh, you know, it's going all the way. Ha ha ha. It's you and Hypok. Ha ha ha. It's going to be all the maps, technical difficulties. Ha ha. Well,
I'm gonna tell you to shut up right now because
you ready for OT, Mike?
I'm just telling you, there's still an opportunity for a reverse sweep right now. We're looking at 12-11.
Okay, I'm writing it now.
Match
reverse
and series
sweep.
Point. ...
He's a believer. I'm not so sure.
A neural theft for Vitality to work with here. Blade Storm.
Get out of my way.
Res.
What's a res? Okay, 12-11. Big on the verge of, honestly, surprising a fair few of us, and we have to wait and see if they can get across the finish line. Vitality looking a shadow of their former selves. Not quite performing as expected here, but if anything, because Big are pushing them in ways they didn't expect. Now, mid control, I guess we count this as garnered. This far, at least. Anything further, you have to wait and see if they can actually do much with this.
I think Vitality have given this up, trying to adjust accordingly now, sending an extra body towards A. And no pressure at least felt on the other side of the map. Sender just tucked himself into back sight on B. Big desperate for a little bit of an overstep on the side of Vitality, I guess, here. And now with Twist and posted, they will freeze. 2-1-2 setup. Looks like might be God B and Aslan to try and sell something. B site here. The Cosmic Divide goes up.
Ooh. And the pinch begins. Keep your eyes on the player working through towards those ropes as well. That's kind of the indicator that that's about to start. Now, Big need to really sell this, and that's a good way to do it. Just put your life on the line. That'll do. Now, the reveal's going to come out, though, and Cat is still in position. Vitality are not done just yet. Maybe the reverse sweep, maybe the OT. It could all come through. Twisted, though, big pickup. Does find Cat a time, though. 12 seconds and Spike's in no man's land. This is what we want to be seeing here, Hypoc.
Not really, no. Back's going to trade that back out. God be the last man standing. No time left, and overtime once again on split. I just... this series has descended into absolute chaos. It's
overtime.
Like I said, we were talking about coming into this, the benefit of seeing a second series is really to see the depth of the improvement, and I think the story the desk really sold was adaptation. You could argue Big looking better in circumstances you wouldn't necessarily expect them to be, but this map 3 is just not what I was expecting. It's almost like both rule books have been thrown out the window.
Yeah, a little bit. Which is quite bizarre in my mind, if I'm honest, because I feel like these teams are generally, well, I say these teams, Vitality have looked more refined, I think, as of late. Watching some of their games to this point, there's been a little bit more like structure to them. They've looked like they are way more capable of doing those deeper runs, like we've been seeing kind of coming up at this point, right? Like we've actually seen them go on way deeper runs in tournaments. Same with Big. Vitality timeout?
I think for them, this is a breath of fresh air with the way the economy lent towards the end of regulation. I mean,
actually, yeah.
You can't help but feel like they're like, thank God. Thank God this has gone to overtime. And look at it, it's 3 rounds in terms of that second half.
Yeah. Yes, I think at least they get the full buy. Right?
I really felt like Big deserved to close that one out, though. The way that they built back into that half, it felt deserved. Yeah, how things kicked off in overtime. It's 10 seconds away. Now, Aslan on the operator. On the flip side, Bram's actually going to...
Need a drop.
I really like Bram's on the rifle. Like,
he's looked sharp on the rifle today.
I'm a little surprised he's opted for that, but let's see what Aslan can do. Flash does nothing. That's a swing and a miss there. Aslan going to claim that comfortably. And he hasn't necessarily had a lot of success down middle. He's shown a lot of presence, but seeing that pick come in now, and that's a nice little start for Big. That's going to be a good confidence booster coming to this round, and we're already going to lose out on having Kata hit. And
okay. Yep.
Well,
count to 3.
Well, it's not looking great, is it?
Rams find anything towards B here. Again, in this scenario, yes, you can leave him on the Astra in this very deep lurk. In terms of it's facing off versus Aslan, that's not what you expect here at all. Casper desperate to try and bait God B in, but
it's tricky to catch God B.
Will be rewarded.
Yeah, it's Casper to get called off here. Tricky to get God B to fall into a unfavorable scenario, but he gets the younger gun to do it. So at this point, God B still needs to be very much on his toes. Yes, they've only seen Brams, but that could be an indicator for more to come. Now, Aslan going to explore a little towards Melrim, which is where we know that Shadow's residing. Timing on this, Aslan!
Oh
There's
my
two
God.
players walking up. God B is tucked in safely from this, I think. This should be enough to now let him know, oh no, I've made a mistake. I turned away at the wrong time, and now Godby is on an island. 10 seconds. Can he do anything about it? He gets one. He needs to find potentially another at this point. Cavalry's on the way. Godby, when they need him, he finds a little bit of form in this one. And he even shuts down on Sender. Godby keeping composure to the very final moment there. And they will get the first in
Switching
OT.
sides. Match point.
Beautifully done. Again, as soon as that first blood comes out, Vitality have to slow things down. They ultimately have to rely on Brams to find something, open up some possibilities, but it's so late in the day. This flash is just absolutely perfect. I think Shadow's still a decent attempt to turn it, but like I said, at that point, they lose out on Brams coming through B main. There's too many bodies for them to deal with. Big strike first. Kada to get something going here. Will actually find Aslan this time, but he gets slowed down. He gets body blocked.
Oh dear,
They
this is
didn't know that he
messy.
was stuck.
They had no idea. I guess you respect the utility, right? But again, that could have been an instantaneous trade. It wasn't. So Vitality get a little bit of a freebie with that one. You'll take it every day of the week as well, though. Need, as the UI seems to know more than I do. Godby does go down. And Twiston looking for a way back in, but you can see Sender's position is really solid. Still going to get a trade out, but again, this is messy. Even just Twiston alive. I feel as though this one seemed to be wrapped up unless Vitality make a couple of mistakes here.
Twiston should have been noted crossing back over there. Back will send the boombot in. Plenty of time, but with Brams pushing this deep in mid, yeah, you see right there. As soon as we switch over, you can hear these, picked up these audio cues. Unlucky for Twiston. Imminent death here. Set up accordingly. You see already Kada now waiting
30
just
seconds
inside
left.
ropes. In case you were wondering. In case you're wondering what was about to happen, yes.
Win.
That was a Vitality win.
Switching sides. Overtime.
Hopefully the UI doesn't ruin the game, but here we are. 2022, by the way. We're having a good time. 1-1 in OT now.
History
Once
repeats
back.
itself. I mean, that's effectively the same way it went, right? We went to 15-13, so it would have been double overtime that Vitality closed out previously, 15-13.
It's gonna be fun.
Is this the script?
I
Is
don't
this
know, I
the
didn't get
turning of the
seasons.
tides?
I wish. This is the reverse sweep. I mean, you called it. It's where it happens, where
There's
it
no
begins.
evidence of that happening.
This is when, you know, someone makes that montage. It's just us going, ha ha ha, there's no way it could have had do.
There.
Yep.
You know, that one. Yep.
Come on.
But
Bomb buddy out.
I just hope Vitality, if they do it in some some good fashion. I want to see good Valorant here. That's what we're up for.
You see Vitality a lot more cautious here about mid. They need to note out where Aslan's posted with that operator, and actually, fair play to Big, adjusting here, putting him on A side, which you didn't see too much of in regulation. Gonna give it away by spamming into this cage just yet. Avoids that spy cam. A very, very split push for map control here. Sorry, Vitality. We're not trying to again try and pull out a rotation. Setup.
I'm
Seemingly,
worried they're leaving
they
this
can
too
greet
late.
both sides of this. Exactly. Yeah.
This is 25 seconds, and that's not even the hit time, right? They've not pulled enough yet. Big is still sitting relatively deep on this. Now, yes, they've given up a fair amount of space. It's going to be this A hit.
Cage triggered.
They've got 15 seconds. They better not make a mistake. And here it comes. Already Aslan going to punish Brams on the cross. Looks towards CT. No one's there. It's all towards the side. Twiston has to be on red alert. Here's the steps. Now he's got to note there's players nearby. Should catch Kada, but makes a meal of it. Now, luckily for him, Aslan's had his back here, so he's found Vac. So again, a favourable enough shot comes out, but Kada on the absolute Ferrari peek towards Aslan. And it looks like the UI's given up altogether. As Obnox isolates Sender, looks towards the site, tags towards Shadow. Shadow and Kada.
Both low
What can you do
HP.
with this one? Yeah, exactly. You can see it won't take much, but again, the pincer movements coming in. Finally, they're starting to clear the side. It's going to be Kada looking towards Godby. Godby wins it, and now it's on Shadow. A 1v3. He can't get it out. And at this point, Casper's got him done. Diffuse comes in. I think that was too late. That felt like I was watching Ascent again.
I mean, at that point, it's almost like you look at kind of how that round's played out. They haven't
Switching
noted the
sides.
operator. They haven't really got
Match
a good
point.
feel for how big are kind of set up in terms of where they're spread out, because the map, no real utility drawn out. And those are all the big kind of conditions for a late round hit. You need to make sure you've drawn out enough utility, you know, noted where the operator is, or at least found some pressure or found some damage onto a player somewhere. Just not enough for Vitality to build off there.
Yeah. And again, I don't like seeing teams run it down that late, especially against a team like Big or someone who's very good at patience. They don't overpeak a great deal. At least when Big are playing well. Maybe, you know, in their sloppier games, they may fall foul to that, right? There could be issues with them overpeaking, playing a little too aggressive on occasion. Maybe, you know, feeling out how do we balance our traditional style with, you know, the younger guns coming in. You don't want to, you know, kind of mute them too much. You want to have them still be able to play their game. So finding that balance is there. But again, I don't think playing down to the 15-second marker is going to work favorably for you. So hopefully, well, I mean, at this point, Vitality don't get that option anymore, right? This is back into things. And I want to see the buy coming out for Big. Should be just fine. Obviously, we're in OT, but I want to see if they go for anything a little different. Seems like the glass cannon's back there. Yeah, everything still the same as per usual. Happy to see Brams at least on the rifle. Didn't love him going on the op at all.
No, and again, you can see the intention behind him. Leave him in a very deep late lurk somewhere and make use of it. But I think with how sharp he's looked, leave it to Kada.
We go back in. Vitality on the defending side here in OT. On the attack would be
Camera
Big.
taken out.
Gobi is basically in spawn, but it is set to try and maybe deal with this double push. Look at this pressure coming down from ramp. Is Aslan away? Sees the pixel. They're now in danger. Twiston's pushed into this. Twiston, that's dangerous, and maybe playing a little too dangerous. Going in blind like that. I don't know if I like that at all.
No, I think a little overzealous to try and find that kill. Again, they spot one player. I think it looks like he's hard clearing right as he comes down ramp, so maybe that's why, but... Find out here, and look at it. The spike cam, the utility in unison.
Spike down mid.
Where is everyone?
That's lovely work, Obnox. This is going to have to be
Pretty special.
heroic levels. Oh, it's not looking likely either with Shadow here. Yeah, this is... Oh, he did get Brams, but again, we move forward 14-14. And it feels nervous from both sides, if I'm honest. It feels like some players are wanting to make those big plays, trying to, you know, get a little bit over-invested at moments, try and maybe levy it towards their favor, but we are back at 14-14.
You do have to ask the question there of what exactly the thought process is. Like, they spot out one player. Like I said, maybe they misread that he's, you know, hard clearing towards right side, but again, Twiston just so desperate to try and find that opener for Big. And ultimately, at that point, I mean, in an overtime round, a man advantage is almost a death sentence.
Here.
And again, posted up in mail.
Bomb buddy out. No charges left.
And force him off again. Lots invested.
There.
The operator's still not noted as of yet. It's pretty cool seeing some of these protocols in place from Big, though, is just on the back of some of these sound cues. When things happen for them on their defensive rounds.
That's a right place, right time with the op, at least. If they continue this way, Zobnox has to be prepared for Vac being a nuisance here, but Aslan, see what he can do, because he's not necessarily alone, but he's going to have to deal with a lot of pressure coming around that corner.
Here.
The other side, here comes that pressure here. Hasn't yet to make a step, really. Keeps composed, keeps patience, and it doesn't pay off. Kata, just quicker. And the sight's theirs. There wasn't anyone super close by. It was Casper, I think, who was the nearest by to this, but Godby still trying to do some damage up from heaven, and at this point, we're down to a 2v2.
One enemy remaining.
Obnox fine one though, Kata falls. Just one left to find. Vac now tries to spam through, but the double swing favors Big. Again, they pull ahead. Vitality now. Backs against the wall.
Switching sides.
Have to respond.
Match point.
It's so interesting there to know just how much time is bought from Aslan repositioning. And I think actually there's an attempt to try and sell a fake with recalling some of those Astra Stars, but they don't bite.
No. But again, this has been back and forward. So this hasn't been, oh, well, this is all but done. No, Vitality have also been pretty much on the money when it comes to converting as well. Here we go again. See what maybe Big has in store for us on their attacking side. Vitality. Concealment! Too much to write home about in my mind here. Early look as though, and a great deal of utility shown towards this B piece. No commitment to the actual site though.
And looking at Vitality through them, it's really paint shell the boombot now. Shadow still with full util as you can see here. And a couple of tools to slow things down. Vac actually just swings out.
Oh, Vac! Getting a second as well. Getting God B down is incredible work. Now, yes, Ops is still alive, and Vac actually gets caught with an aid in hand, and suddenly there's an opportunity. Kata and Sender, where are you now? This is where they need you. We've seen Kata having some impact and Sender going huge in the past, and they need a bit of it again. They have to face off against Aslan, Casper, and Obnox.
Res available in the post-part as well, and I might be joking a little bit on it, but the big tool. You see Obnox actually looking to swing back towards mid to try and get one of those reses, Lauren. This could be huge for Big.
Really could be. Timing's a factor. Tap on the spike. Sender trying to draw out the first potential victim. Kata spots one on the cross. There's that res coming in now. They know where these players are. Aslan found Sender. It's all on Kata. And it's not going to work out. Big get across the finish line in OT 16-14.
Again, I felt like that map was so weird, and the way that it ends is really reflective of how regulation was. Finally, we see the res come through, and it's one of the most impactful uses you could have seen there. Late in overtime, I think actually God B still had his aftershock, so no real opportunity unless Vitality find 3 kills there in quick succession to even find their way back into that. But again, in terms of expectations for the series today, I think we've got a really good look at how Big are able to adapt to a different play style, a different style of opponent here, Lauren, which, like I said, is a huge tick in the box for me.
Yeah, I think we have to talk about the overall, I hate saying storyline when it's like this, but it is for Big that they've slowly been grinding, right? And I know a lot of their fans have been waiting to see when they finally hit that form. Is it ever going to come in? And Godby's one of those where it's hard to not enjoy watching him progress with a team. And I think you've started to see really the fruit of that labor, right? From the start where, they'd occasionally show up, pick up a decent map here or there, but it would kind of fade away on the deeper run. But now managing to overcome a team that pushed them into this scenario is incredibly impressive, right?
Can't agree more. So to come back and completely flip this 3-0 is it's really great to see for them. We've already talked about both of these teams in terms of the history, with a little bit of a refresh, I guess, in terms of the names behind it. I'm absolutely delighted to see Big pull through again. It's for Vitality. The curse continues, right? It's the final hurdle once again to get across the board, but it's not the last time we'll see them, and there's definitely been some positives to take away from this week.
Oh no, and as much as, yes, Big is the main storyline when it comes to it, Vitality have a very similar arc, right? We've looked at them slowly progressing, now making substantially deeper runs, sitting in the upper bracket, so no discredit to Vitality. However, we have to talk about the player of the match and who you guys at home would maybe support on that. We've got the likes of God B, Aslan, Obnox. I mean, for me, I'd go Obnox on this, but God B, how do you deny it? We saw some massive impact on Split. Where would you sit? Where would you go for there, Mike? Are those options?
I mean, it's if we're to completely ignore Split, it's Obnox.
Sure,
and it's not even close, right?
Not even close.
I think that's fair to say. And you know what? I'll go ahead and say it. The Res was the most impactful ultimate in that game because it won them the last round. So Obnox takes it for me.
Okay, you're on the Obnox train. That's fair enough. And I think, honestly, with the first 2 maps, that's hard not to do. But then, obviously, the IGL, hard to vote against him. But anyway, that's enough from us. You guys can get your voices heard. But yeah, that is enough from us. It's been a pleasure casting with you, Mike, as ever. And I can't wait to see what the desk has to say about this game. And hopefully we get a great post-game interview as well.